Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Watching. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for you today. Yes, indeed, we got a lot to talk about in the world of sports and honestly beyond, whatever y'all want to discuss, of course, at the end of the show. But we got Tank Davis and his motivations. We got Crawford and concerns with the long layoff in the build-up to what we know is going to be a highly anticipated mega fight between him and Canelo. Also, we got Keith one-time Thurman returning to the ring. How exactly did his performance look in his essentially KO win against Jarvis? Is there potentially some fights down the line? Maybe even later this year that we can see for Keith one-time Thurman. How did he look in his first return in almost 3 years, over 1,000 days? All of this and more we're going to talk about and discuss right here on the show. And of course, when we get to the end of the show, we're going to have the championship rounds. Oh, I almost forgot to put up the title card. Hey, we still here, we still back, and we still making the show the best that it can be for you all. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. And if you would already, at the start of this whole affair, leave a like on the stream. Comment your thoughts and opinions in the chat below, like we already got some people doing right now. Like with Al Booger, like with Rusty Cage. How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in. Anybody that comes in to the chat, we will go and see what you got to say. Absolutely. And we appreciate you. But please, comment what you feel or your own question on whatever you have in the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join the empire and help us build up this phenomenal empire together as we are growing and thriving. We can't do this without you, so you are the backbone of this show. So absolutely, we hope that you keep on, or if you haven't already, go subscribe to the channel. If you have, hey, stay right here, because we got so much stuff that we still got to offer for you, the public. No question about it. And I think that's everything. Oh, we're also available on every podcasting platform imaginable. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us. We'll see if we can get there as soon as possible. But with all that being said, we got an action-packed show, and we ain't got no time to waste. We got to make sure we get everybody involved, shall we? So without further ado, let's jump right into the world of sports, shall we? And since we're talking about boxing first and foremost, it is time to step into the ring. Hey! Oh, that's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway as we have essentially a cavalcade of stuff to discuss. But the first topic is going to be, ironically enough, Tank Davis. Hey, what better way to start it than with one of the hottest names in the sport? Of course, again, we will get to Keith Thurman. No question about it. We will get to the likes of the rest of the news. No question. But we do want to bring this up because this is, hey, hotly contested time. You gotta play. You gotta play the field a little bit, don't you? Get a little people riled up. And we need to talk about first, before anything, Tank Davis and has he lost his fire for this sport? Genuine. Has he lost his fire for this sport? It's not. I'm not trying to give any. Well, maybe this is a little bit inflammatory, but only because of the title, but it is a real question that needs to be asked. Why do I ask that? Well, the more that I thought about the aftermath of this whole draw that everybody feels is a loss with the Roach, now it made me ask the question as to why in fact this performance happened, and what is Tank's mental state right now when it comes to this sport. And this might touch on something we've talked about before when it comes to Gervonta Davis and his drive for boxing as a whole. Also, what's up, Jay Riggs? What's up with you? How you doing? Good to see you back on the show. Thanks so much. Again, we're going to jump right into the topic. I want to hear your thoughts as well. But when we look at the whole landscape of Tank Davis as a whole, in lieu of this performance against Lamont Roach, has he lost the fire for the sport? Or rather, is this the catalyst to get that fire back? I asked that because in the past we had talked about Tank Davis and his genuine, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that even further. My genuine disdain for how he was operating in the sport because, again, he wanted his money and wanted to get out. Understandably so. And he had been moving, honestly, only about the paper, not about the legacy. Now, early on, saw the fire, saw the fervor, all of that, and then went into, all of a sudden, leading up into this fight, tired of the boxing game, tired of all this stuff, tired of the circus that is this sport. I want out. That potentially could be a reason why he lost, or rather drew, in this fight with Lamont Roach, because the fire in him may have been gone. And we have touched on this before, that he stoked this, or rather he doused this fire and put it out on his own volition. I think he looks the same as always. Again, it's not about the look. It's about the mentality. Like I said before, him losing, or excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying losing, him drawing to Lamont Roach, though we feel he lost to Lamont Roach. Him in that performance, yes, it was the same Tank. Sure. There is still no excuse for that loss, or rather that draw. There was no excuse for what happened inside of that ring. We already touted the preparation that we know Tank has at his disposal. Great, phenomenal, always driven, dedicated in his own right. We get it. One of the models that you see in the gym. Cool. But internally, we have always seen with the crossroads of boxers at some point in time, some people, they lose a sense of fervor at some point. It can be early on, it can be late, whenever the case may be, but it happens. With Tank, however, Tank lost this, in my opinion, or lost that fire, which potentially could have been an asset as to why this performance against Lamont Roach should happen. Because of the way that he moved. And we had talked about this in the past with Tank willingly skirting tests, skirting challenges, claiming he's the best, but never actually proving it against the people that would have solidified that, now got content with the level of competition internally. And even though training-wise he was still doing everything we see him to do, mentally, he was already like, I'm just going to run through these people and have no issue, no problem, no question whatsoever. And we're okay. We're ready to go. Just business as usual. Not taking the same level of mental intensity that you normally see when it comes to boxers getting in the ring every single night. Again, not saying that he isn't driven, but what I'm saying, what drove him, which was, again, money, not legacy, his words, not mine, helped capitulate to the ability in his own mind to think that he can just, with the greatest of ease, go through and not have to worry about, I'm going to be tested. Because I'm going to make my money regardless, and I'm still putting on the show. Now with this fight with Lamont Roach, this puts Tank at a crossroads. We've already said this earlier. This was a brother who wanted to, again, this fight was a tune-up for Jake Paul. Said this multiple times. He, essentially, without saying anything, admitted it himself. This was a fight to go with one of the biggest cash grabs that he has seen in his career. Now when he fought Lamont Roach and this happened, against a buddy that was supposed to be a legitimate pebble in the legacy of Tank Davis, as we all capitulated that that's what we were witnessing. This fight now has put a mirror in front of Tank. At least it should. This fight has put a mirror in front of Tank to show him, hey, though you may be in the gym doing everything you're supposed to do, this game is still, and we've said this multiple times, quoting Telly Ellis, 90% mental and 10% physical. It isn't just about what you do in the ring. It's about what you instill in yourself as your, not just expectation for success, but your intensity going into the fight. And with what we've seen, I mean, we had people in the chat go into it saying, or in the chats in the past, some people saying, and just on social media as a whole, people were saying, hey, Tank didn't look right. Tank didn't look invested. All these things the outside public was starting to see in the build up to this whole fight. Coming into stuff late, having, again, the outside stuff with Calvin Ford we already covered. Again, health problems, I believe, was the issue as to why they weren't together. But regardless of which, wasn't invested, wasn't mentally there. Seemingly, though in the gym, we know what Tank is, which, again, he's a gym rat. But outside and in the makeup of the fight as a whole, in the mindscape of this whole thing, people were saying that the brother wasn't mentally invested as he needed to be. Now, could this loss be a situation where it puts a mirror in front of him that shows him, hey, you can't get away with just being physically ready and mentally checked out and still be able to put on the performance that you want to put on? Not just because of the expectations that you have in the wider boxing public, because now you just saw what happened to somebody you were supposed to run through. Now there's one of your biggest ops on top of all the other ops. You can't think the way you thought from this point on and still be successful. You got to change your perspective and get back in tune with being driven by greatness. Being driven by wanting to be the best. Being driven like you used to be in the amateurs early on in your career when you were taking the globe by storm. You need to get back to that. Because if you don't, this is what can happen. This is what can transpire. This can be you. And this potentially will be you in the future. More than just one time. If you don't change your mental state. And again, it's just a thought I wanted to see how you all took it, how you all wanted to talk about it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on the matter. Bruce Lee said it best, boards don't hit back. Finally, someone that made him pay everything Tank through. Welch always had something in return. Absolutely, yes he did. He didn't lose his fire because he did the same late reaction going down on one knee in the amateurs, but it was called a knockdown. And he threw a tantrum too, like he did against Welch, and complained, oh, now, wait a minute. Now, hold on now. Wait a second. Now, this is news to me. So, Tank went and took a knee in the amateurs before? This is breaking news, at least to me. If you all knew this, hey, great. You're teaching me something new. You mean to tell me that Gervonta Davis took a knee earlier in the amateurs when he was coming up? Similar to what happened now. And potentially, again, I don't know, potentially it was even a cleaner punch than what we saw from Lamont Roach, though that punch was outright clean. But potentially, I'm just speculating. But regardless of which, he took a knee in the amateurs, and it was actually called a knockdown, and he got hot. And now he's doing this, he did the same thing in the pros, and got away with it. Oh my, I did not know that. That is news to me. Tank got caught in his lie and said he didn't know that going on one knee would be considered a knockdown. But he did because it happened to him exactly before. And he stumbled back on one knee and see? Man. Now that, okay. So that brings a new question to this whole thing. Now that brings a whole new perspective, or a whole new cavalcade of questions about Tank's mental state. See, I wasn't even trying to go here, but let's go here. Again, the plot does thicken, and the questions do arise even more. Because let's ask this. We have to ask this now. Excuse me. Hold on. That was the wrong song. Wait a minute. There we go. We got to ask, what was Tank's mental state at all? Was this, instead of this just being something where he had fire and lost fire? And that's a good question. Is there footage on YouTube anywhere that we can find it? If so, great. I would love to see it. Or I would love to show us what you. Oh, there is footage. Okay, there is footage. We can find it. Don't know how. I'll look into it later on, absolutely. Or in fact, as I'm talking, if we get some low time, we ain't never gonna have low time here, but we get a little bit of a lower excitement level. I'll take some time to look it up, no question. But what was I saying? Oh, the mental state of Tank Davis as the whole, or on the whole, where was it at to begin with? And now that he got tested like this, are there more questions that needs to be asked about where his mental state is in the boxing game? Because I think we've seen some cracks, and we may have just overlooked it or not given it as much of a fervent thought that we wanted to, or that we should have. Because now that we think about it a little more, he's admitted that he was afraid of Ryan Garcia in his speed and power. Against Lamont Roach, and in the past, he has, or excuse me, not against Lamont Roach, against Lamont Roach, he did the same thing they did in the amateurs, trying to take a knee to essentially either get some rest and or to get some help, knowing that he should have, or knowing that he shouldn't have. He has also said in the past, not just about the money and legacy argument that we've been talking about, always about the money, but also that his pride can't take losing. So is there a potential, again, this is speculative. This is all speculation. Is there a potential situation where Tank's mental state genuinely won't allow him to fight the people that are worth the challenge comparative to his skill set? And he's afraid of becoming, he did say that. He said he's afraid of becoming a me. And so would this be a situation where we're looking at where Tank is genuinely, there is a mental block in his own way that won't let him face off against top level talent on a consistent basis because of that fear of failure? And that's why Lamont Roach was taken like it was took, because it was a fear of failure that caused him to take on a champion who he was a champion. But it was not a highly touted champion that many people gave any sort of credit to. Nobody, again, this is not disrespecting Lamont Roach now. This is saying that at this point in time, or at that point in time, contextually, we did not value Roach in comparison to Tank. Deservedly so, because of what Tank had been proven to be, and what Roach at that point in time had not been proven to be. Even with all the training in that they've been doing together, or sparring that they've been doing together over the years, it was a level that we saw seemingly Tank was just way above what Roach was. And Tank fought Roach, thinking it would be, again, big payday, easy money, another KO, again to set up Jake Paul. Not to set up any other viable, legitimate option of an actual contending fighter. So is there a mental roadblock in the way of Tank that is not letting him go and fight the best when they are at their best due to the fear of failure? It's a genuine question. I would love to hear your opinions on it. I'm a Tank fan, but I'm a bigger boxing fan. I usually agree to great fights. I respect Roach after, just like I respect Berlanga after the fight with Canelo too. And again, absolutely, this is not to demean Roach, no question about it. We are not degrading what Roach or Berlanga were, but when we look at the backtrack of history as to when these fights were announced, and when we all saw these fights before the result, what the understood wider range of emotions were, which was, oh my gosh, why? Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe that we're going down this road again of mediocrity from a standpoint of talent with what we had at hand at that point in time. Again, now that Tank's been tested legitimate against what was supposed to be fodder, we already give respect to Lamont Roach. We not only want to see that rematch, but also I would love to see that Buddy Now fight at 135 full time. Hey, that would be interesting. If you're going to do this to Tank, I would love to see Lamont Roach versus the likes of Schofield, Mason, Shakur. Teofimo, at this point in time, every big name is a viable name for the name of Lamont Roach to get in the ring with. Because now, if you can do this against Tank, brother, I want to see you against everybody else. Absolutely. Forget your title at 130. Come up here to 135 where you can get some of the biggest names with a consistent level of monster paydays and constant opposition that would be, hey, you belong here with what you showed on that fateful night. So I'm all down for that. But let me see. I meant I didn't care for them before, but no, I don't mind to watch them again. Okay, yeah. Okay. So excuse me. Appreciate the clarification. But even still, that goes into the point. We are now saying at this point in time with Tank, where is his movement going to be? Because we have to look and say, with what you tried to do with Lamont, and it failed miserably. Now, that fight was not supposed to be a great fight. And if what we see about his mental state of being afraid of failure, being afraid to lose, his pride can't take becoming a meme or getting exposed. There is a real situation where look at Tank and look at the greater landscape of the boxing world. That this cherry pick going wrong means that there is more of a boxed in sense than ever before. Because now there's a bigger risk of anybody potentially doing that same thing to Tank. Genuine. And it's like, again, this is a very extreme situation. But some people may say, oh, well, now he's scared to go and fight anybody. He's scared to go and he's got to really be meticulous now. Because this same situation can come through and boom, jump on him. Another close fight with a fight that's supposed to be a dominating performance. Let alone the people that we want to see him fight right now that should have already been fought already. But essentially, the whole thing is this fear of failure, this fear of being exposed, the fear of if this loss actually doesn't happen. The draw is the limit. The loss is the bad thing. Getting knocked out is the worst of all. All of it, the threat of what can happen if I don't succeed, is something that weighs potentially heavy on Tank's mind, which is why, beyond just what we know, the motto of Floyd Mayweather was, in terms of how to move throughout your career, that he taught to Tank and took him under his wing. Beyond just that, even with that model, Floyd still fought everybody. Even under the model of moving smartly, Floyd still fought every opposition available. He still did. We can't forget that. We may hate what he turned boxing into off of the ripple effects of how he moved throughout his career, but he still fought everybody. Just about everybody that was under or on his radar, or that he should have fought. Tank, again, beyond just following that same model, has drastically diminished the level of talent that he should have fought by now, even if you're following the Floyd model verbatim. There's a real situation where we're looking at, there's a reason why Floyd and Tank are not the same, not just in terms of greatness, but in terms of as a fighter. We can say what you want about Floyd, but if Floyd was not afraid to fail, he moved smartly. But again, ultimately, he got in the ring with people, and he was not afraid to fail. That brother, he's been in some wars. He almost got knocked out by Shane Mosley. He took on Canelo, a young Canelo, at 150, I believe at 154, when he was one of the biggest rising stars in the sport, and he was the aging legend with still a perfect record to try to keep intact. He fought him. Even though at that time Canelo wasn't Canelo now, it was still, the brother was indeed a legitimate, viable, big threat at that point in time to fight against Floyd Mayweather at that age. All this time throughout his career, he still risked a level of failure. And Tank has never done it, or at least has tried to put it so that he never has to. And now it's in a situation where if his mental block is still there, let's say he faces off against somebody that is, again, a legitimate threat this time around, with everybody in this division and beyond evolving and changing, ooh, this could be bad. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it's going to lose. But I am saying that the willingness the hesitation breeds a level of concern beyond just, oh, we want to see the mega fights happen. Is there an inkling of doubt within yourself that you truly can go through the gauntlet and get out unscathed? Or because of that slight doubt that one of these people may just get me, like I already almost got against a buddy I was supposed to dominate in Lamont Roach. Let me pump the brakes. That potentially, that's what we could be seeing. Potentially. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Again, just food for thought to see what you all have to say. He didn't have his man strength at that point in time, but it was still Canelo. Yeah, exactly. He had now, nowhere close to evolved into what we see Canelo as now. But he was still not only a champion, but he was still one of the hottest rising stars at the division in all of boxing, beyond just, oh, the hype of Canelo. Nah, he had legitimately, he had already started to separate himself from the rest of the boxing world in terms of as a talent. And he was nowhere close to what he is when he got to Gennady Golovkin and others, when he moved up to 160. But still, at that point in time, it was like Canelo versus Floyd. That was a mega fight. That was a huge fight. Not just because of Floyd Mayweather, but because Canelo was in his own right a mega star already, and was seen as a real option that could beat Floyd at that point in time because of his youth, because of his power, because of the skills that he had shown, and the ability to say, oh, maybe he can do some damage. And Floyd took him out, boxed him, and gave him a lesson. Phenomenal. Credit to it. But Canelo was a risk, though he wasn't what he nearly was now when he fought. Yo, what's going on with it? How you doing? Teach, what's good with it? What's up with it? Hopefully you ain't Teach Blackbeard from One Piece. If you are, get your butt out my stream. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All jokes aside. My gosh, please stay and enjoy what we got going on. I appreciate you tuning in. Crazy how when Mayweather was protecting Tank to fight Loma, he used the same reason for them not to fight. And we covered that in the past as well, going through the whole timeline of Tank's upbringing when he came to becoming and guiding a big star. Blackbeard all the way. Brother, oh no, you are the reason that my favorite character, Whitebeard, is gone right now. I can't believe it. You want that scoundrel? I'm hurt. Oh, I'm livid. Again, for my anime fans out there, Teach, big villain, big character in the anime show One Piece. For those of you who ain't watching the show, you need to watch the show, regardless of which. I can't stand that brother. He's a great villain, but I hate him. And the fact, that you, I got some beef with you. I got some beef with you, boy. I got some beef with you, man. But regardless of which, we still, again, just to get back on topic, before we all start nerding out over here. When we look at the world of Tank, Floyd, and how they both moved through their respective careers, there is a point in time where the weights are supposed to fall off. The shackles are supposed to drop, and genuinely, a time to get your feet tested on coals, hot coals, to see how much you can walk, see how far you can go. Floyd did that as well. Now Tank is holding himself back from doing that, seemingly, potentially. Again, this is skeptical. We're looking to see. But at the same time, we can't deny what we're seeing as outright facts in front of us from the way that he has moved, the words that he spoke, and how he's operated throughout his career, especially in the past 3 to 4 years. Especially in the past 3 to 4 years. So it is a concern that maybe there is some fear underlying with Tank that is not letting him be able, willingly, in his own person, Because of the fear of failure, because of being exposed, because of being made fun of if he does lose, all this stuff, again, and outright loss, all this stuff, he can't and doesn't want to take. And he doesn't know how he's going to respond if he does get or face that type of ridicule outright, especially against somebody that is seen as, yo, this brother is on your level. He may not be able to take it. And so it's just a question to look out for as we see Tank's career go forward, especially now that he has an irreversible blemish on his resume. It's not a loss, but it's still a blemish. And he got a semblance of the outright vitriol, the outright disdain of what would happen if you lost in totality. And already he's taking it back. So this could also further his ability to not want to test himself anymore. Not saying it's going to happen. It still needs to happen. But it's just a food for thought to think about. Again, you can disagree, no problem. But it's just food for thought to think about going through this process of how we view Tank and the reason as to why he's not moving like we want him to move. It may go beyond just, I want to take the easy road. It may be a legitimate fear that's gripping him to not let him go where he needs to go. Potential again. But it's all just potential. We're just speculating. We're just talking. I'm not saying anything concrete. We're just trying to get some stuff going. And the wheels turning inside the mind to go and understand the greater landscape of these fighters. We don't know the person. I don't know the person. I can only go off of what I see and putting dots together, not in a disrespectful way, but you try to gauge a level of reasoning for why we're witnessing what we're witnessing. That's all I'm trying to do. And so, yeah, but let's see. So it's from One Piece. I was wondering about it. See, it's from One Piece, the anime, the phenomenal anime, the 1,000+ episode masterpiece, one of the greatest works of fiction that we have ever seen in history. In history. With whatever novel you can think of, whatever phenomenal writer, whatever series of books you can think of, literature as a whole. This is one of the best shows you have ever seen. And it's only getting better. You need to watch it if you haven't already. If you haven't already, you need to see it. It's on Netflix, also on some other streaming sites if you can find them. You can find them. You can find them. If you search right, they'll tell you everything you need to know. Absolutely. And so, yeah, but if you ain't watch it, please go on and watch it. Tank overrated. He just wait till his opponent's tired. But Roach is a 15-round guy. And now, this I somewhat disagree with. I think that Tank is somebody who, he doesn't wait you out to get tired. More so, he waits to download what you are and what your skills are, and then build a game plan to knock you out in the later stages. So he waits around, but he doesn't, because again, if it was to get tired, he would be trying to gauge or goad his opponent into gassing themselves out. And normally his opponents are tentative. Normally, at the pace that they operate when they fight Tank, they would be able to go all 12 rounds with ease. If it was, again, anybody but Tank Davis. But because of how Tank evolves and amps his pressure up later on, once you give him enough information to figure out, okay, this is what I need to do to take you out, now he amps up his pressure. You still got stamina to go as long as you need to go. This ain't like Canelo, who's ripping to the body and taking you out and taking your gas tank because he's constantly not just pressuring you, but landing damaging shots downstairs, flooding the basement, in the words of Teddy Atlas, and making it so that you are tired. This is Tank just always goes and knocks you out late because he figures out what to do to get you to react so that he can land the punch that takes you out. One clean shot to end the show. That's what Tank looks to try to do. And and he's been successful. Roach is the buddy who was able to negate that. And so it goes beyond just stamina with Tank. Because Tank isn't driven off of just gassing you out. He's driven off of outthinking you. And then putting the fear of his punch in you once he sees weakness. And now you're sitting up. So that's what I would say more so encapsulates his style and why he's been so successful as a boxer. Let's see. I've never seen. I got to catch up on my nerdology. My wife is a nerd. Tries to get me into it. Look. Your wife. Let me tell you something. Your wife is a phenomenal woman. Your wife is an incredible. Your wife knows what's going on. Your wife is trying to put you on peak. Listen to your wife. Listen to your significant other. Listen to your better half. Because I guarantee you, she's not going to lead you the wrong way. Trust me. This anime and then all this nerd stuff that we love doing, it will make you a better person. It'll speak to you. It'll talk about personal issues through the lens of the story. It'll talk about problems. It'll talk about like stuff everybody's gone through. It's beautiful storytelling, phenomenal action, incredible comedy. There's some odd stuff out there, understandable, but she, with her already being in the realm, she'll guide you through it. Trust me. You're going to want to see it because when you do, you're going to love it. Oh, listen to your wife. Trust me. Listen to your wife. She ain't going to lead you wrong. Not on this. She ain't going to lead you wrong at all when it comes to this thing at all. I hope Tank keeps his corner intact because he's going to need it. There's almost no way he doesn't keep his corner. The reason why everything seemed to be volatile was, again, from what I know, was because of Calvin Ford personal health problem. And so that's why he wasn't in the camp, wasn't in the corner, all that stuff. Somebody else took his place. Understand it. Fine. That we get it. But I doubt that he's going to leave from the team that got him to where he's at. I doubt that. I doubt that at all. If anything, if he goes to anybody else that isn't Calvin Ford, I don't think that he's going to be the same Tank. He couldn't. This is a situation. Tank and Calvin Ford are like Mike Tyson and Cus D'Amato. They're like Pacquiao and Freddie Welch. They are an inseparable duo. They can't, or rather, not saying Calvin Ford can't train other people, but they need each other. More so, Tank needs Calvin Ford and that whole team. They help not just keep him in check in the ring, but also in his personal life. They are wisdoms and beacons of guides on top of being savants in the sweet science. They need each other. And if Tank ever left, Tank would not be the same Tank. I truly believe it. Tank would not be the same Tank, both in his personal life and beyond, in the ring, if he didn't have Calvin Ford. Because they spent too much time together. They've grown up together. They have been in the thick of it for ever since Tank was a youngin'. And to have that all of a sudden ripped away, there's no way that Tank would be the same. There's no way he would be the same. Tank got Frank Warren wear himself out by jumping to every Frank Martin, excuse me. I don't know why I said Frank Warren. Tank got Frank Martin to wear himself out by jumping at every Frank, and then being so tight on his guard and stress will drain you up. Okay, understand. Okay, so in that rank, the fear drains you. Again, the mental toll. So I didn't take that into account. My bad. The mental pressure of what Tank can do can help drain your ability to have stamina in the later rounds. So to a degree, yes, he still does gas you out. So my apologies. I didn't take that into account. In fact, I think I've said that before, and I forgot that. I've talked about the mental pressure of Tank when he fights against a fighter, when he gets in the ring, when he goes and pushes the pace, or just when he goes and stands in front of you. The fear of what can happen makes you overthink, and yet you are tight. You are constricted. You are almost hesitant in everything, because everything's got to be perfect on your side, because if not, you can get caught immediately. And so that can drain. That absolutely can drain. Shit, we've said that with Mike Tyson. He's beating people before they got in the ring. George Foreman, same way. The power alone was able to make people succumb before they even got in the ring. And so it's the mental toll of what it takes to be in the ring with you. In a way, it happens the same way. The fear of what can happen when you fight against them. The mental toll of having to have everything so perfect can weigh on you, even if you're not doing a bunch in the ring. And that can gas you out as well. So, no, you're perfectly right. I'm sorry. I completely left that out. I completely left it out. Yo, Trey, you were right when you said that he gasses people out. He just does it in a different way. He does it in a different way. But it's still just as effective. So my apologies. My apologies, absolutely. I remember being in middle school and was always tight guard running from bully, and the stress of jumping every inch would drain you. So, see, now, I apologize that you had to go through that. Absolutely. You ought to go back to him and now go and knock him out. Or even better, just hit him with a lead pipe. Him or her, no matter who. Just knock him out with the lead pipe. Go ahead. Get some revenge. That's what you ought to do. Okay. Get it back in blood. We all back it. We're back it with it. Oh, yeah. Let's make it happen. Let's find them. And then let's go. Let's run the table. Let's run the game. Let's get our get back. I'm all for it. Some people say I'm a violent person. I'm all for a good fight. And I'm all for some good licking when it comes to getting it back in blood. Oh, if you want to make it happen, just drop the name. We got people that can dox people. Or we can ruin their life. Absolutely. We can make it a nightmare. Yeah, just say the word. Just say the word and we'll make it happen. Oh boy. Actually, let me pump the brakes on that. I don't want to get us flagged for us inciting violence on somebody. So excuse me. But no, trust and believe. I don't mess with bullying. I don't mess with that at all. Oh no. I don't rock with that in the slightest. Trust and believe. I don't take it. I don't withstand it. I'm always for speaking out against it. And if we can do something to back it, stop it. Shoot. I'll tell you what. We adults now. We adults now. We got ways that we can handle this now. I ain't worried no more. Absolutely. But again, I digress from here. But no. But yeah, it again, you are all right about when it comes to Tank. It will drain you, absolutely. Tank is on to the 12th round twice. Do you think the last 3 rounds would have gone the same way if it had been ruled a 9th round knockdown? Now, this is a good question. I believe that if the round had been going and he had gotten, if the knockdown had been counted, I truly believe that this would have been a fight. The pace would have gone up. Tank would have gotten more aggressive. But potentially, I think that fight might have gone the same way. Now, the ruling as to why the New York State Athletic Commission said that this draw is going to be upheld and not overturned, because their claim, as you say here, they don't know if the last 3 rounds would have been the same if, in fact, the knockdown was called. Who knows what Tank would have done? Who knows what Lamont would have done? But I truly believe that it would have gone the exact same way, because Lamont was taking his power. And Lamont was at every turn. Let's not mince words about it. Tank was already upping his pressure by round 8. The reason why this is so incredible wasn't just because Lamont Moach beat him. Lamont Moach beat him when Tank was trying to go and knock him out. This was when the normal stages of when Tank was getting ready to knock you, or not getting ready, was in the process of now implementing the game plan to knock you out. And he was beating him when Tank was already, for what Tank normally is, wide open, relative to what we normally see Tank do when he goes to fight and goes in for the kill. And so I think that while you can't say for sure, understandably, I believe that it would have been, fight would have gone the same way. Fight would have, at worst, they trade knockdowns if it had gotten counted. At worst, they trade knockdowns, and then the fight still goes to 12. But I think it would have been same result, same situation. Most likely still would have gone to 12. Or even at worst, Lamont Moach would have caught Tank because he would have gotten essentially out of line by going overboard trying to make up for the knockout. Or trying to make up for the knockdown, which would have caused him to get knocked down and potentially caught clean and knocked out. And that's what could have happened. So again, we don't know. It is as what you call it? It could have went either way, and as Trey said, it would have went either way in his mind, and that's entirely possible. But I think it would have stayed the same, and I think his fight still would have gone to 12, or at worst, Lamont Roach would have caught Tank with another shot that knocked him down. This time, I hurt him for real. But regardless of which, he would have won. And I think Lamont still would have won if that fight did go all the way, at least in my estimation. And so that's what I believe. I believe Tank was doing his best. You don't simply take a knee and then continue to fight in cruise control. Tank knew he made a mistake by taking that knee. Tank knew that more than just that, the knee kind of changed the level of momentum. This taking that knee and what came afterwards, now the essentially, some may call it frustration, started to set in that, okay, I'm trying to get this brother out of here and he's not going. I'm trying to get him gone and he's not going. Why isn't what I normally do not working? Beyond just the knee. So that's why, again, you saw him opening up, more so opening up. Now, let's be perfectly honest. We saw Tank in trades with how methodical we normally see Tank go. We saw him open up more than we've seen in the last couple rounds or couple fights when it comes to somebody giving him some work and him going back and forth with somebody. That brother was willingly put himself in the thick of it. Because at this point in time, the game plan of, I'm going to catch you with the right shot and beginning of the end, that wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. And so it was to a degree frustration. I don't want to call it desperation, but something along that very fine line. But I had to literally go for broke in the last 2-3 rounds because that fight was too close to call, and Lamont Welch not only wasn't going anywhere, but was winning the better exchanges. And so it's that knee and just the frustration of he's not going down. I think that may have contributed to why we saw Tank do what Tank did. And so Tank didn't even know he was on the 12th round. So does that mean he was concussed? That may have just been that he just lost track. I've seen other fighters lost track of time. I don't think it was concussed. I doubt he was concussed because he didn't fight like it. I'll tell you that. He didn't fight like he was concussed. He didn't fight like he was bad off. But I've seen other fighters forget what round they're in or ask what round they're in because it's like, we're in the thick of the fight. You just lose track of it. I've seen that before. But in the sense of understanding why he was going like he was going in that fight in the later stages, putting himself at risk more than we've ever seen him before against an opponent. That's because that brother he was at this point, everything else wasn't working. All I can do is go and trade with it. Get in the thick, stand in the middle of the ring, catch and shoot, slip on the inside and try to counter immediately and hope I don't get caught back. That's what he had to do, because if he didn't, he was definitely going to lose that fight. Clearly he was going to lose that fight. If he was ordered to what he had been doing, it wouldn't have been a question. It would have been a bigger situation of a clear-cut victory. It would have been even wider of a clear-cut victory if we didn't see Tank do what Tank did in those later rounds. Go and trade outright with Lamont Welch. And so Keyshawn's fights are way more exciting than Tank's fights. And so actually, yes, I agree with this. Tank is more anticipatory. You can't wait to see what's going to happen. But all around action, Keyshawn Davis has more action, no question. Because he's not nearly as methodical. He'll push the pace a lot quicker. He will go on the attack a lot more fervently and a lot more deliberately than we'll see with Tank Davis. There's no question. Absolutely. Yeah, the more I think about it, yeah, you're right. Keyshawn is a lot more exciting than the likes of Tank Davis when it comes to how they fight. It's just being in there. It's just being in there fighting and the pace. Boxers forget the reps. See, boxers forget the rounds. Sometimes while the corner reminds them. So it's not an uncommon thing. And so no, I'm serious. You sure he didn't? You sure he didn't fight like he was? But yet he popped his head out the ring to his corner, asking if the ref is the ref counting. Again, Tank was not hurt when he got knocked down. Tank thought he could get away with the rules because, again, a piece of his hair did touch his eye off of that jab. So there was some irritation. I'm not saying that why you went to the corner was indeed invalid. It's the fact that going to the corner is illegal in the midst of a round unless directly by the referee. And a knockdown as a result of, again, the hair going in his eye, but the punch also landing, which it didn't land. That should have been called a knockdown. So he wasn't unconscious. He knew what was going on. He knew what he was trying to do. He was completely cognizant. Because you saw how he fought once he got back into, once the ref said continue. It's just like the tank of bone. So yeah. And so yeah, at least for me. And so I would say, yeah, he wasn't concussed or hurt. He didn't fight like he was concussed or hurt. He fought like a man who was trying, at this point in time, everything else ain't working. I gotta go for broke. And to me, he lost that fight. And I think as a whole, if they fought again, it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to be able to adapt and overcome, at least on my note. And let's see. Now Keyshawn is more exciting on the mic. Okay, for sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, no question. Keyshawn, that bully can talk. That bully can get not just people excited, but he can talk smack and ain't afraid to do it. He can talk smack and be a menace when he wants to, and calling people out and making people invested in, ooh, this brother is out for blood. And we believe what he's saying. No question about that. Oh, on the mic, he's one of the more exciting fighters at 135, at that whole division. He's probably one of the people that we can see most likely shake up the rest of the one of the main people, to shake up 135 in terms of, okay, we calling people out deliberately. We getting it in. You want it? Come get it. He could be like a rock on the water that sends ripples to everybody else. He can be that person. And he wants to be that person. He acts like that person, which, great, phenomenal. We want to see that. And we love to see that. And more, as his stock grows, if he keeps talking like he's talking, and he keeps performing to back up said talk, oh, he'll get himself a major fight. And I'm excited to see it. No question about it. But we still got more to cover on this show. Don't forget, we again, leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. We still got a lot more to cover on the show beyond just take like with, like in the title, Crawford and his layoff with Canelo Alvarez. Now, this is a very hotly contested issue. Very hotly contested. Oh, and by the way, real quick, Mason versus Keyshawn. Right now, I got Keyshawn Davis if they ever fought against each other. But Abdullah Mason more and more is impressing me with his ability. Impressing me not just with his power, but with his ability to stay in the pocket and be able to catch you and hurt you. Last but he knocked down what, 3-4 times, but it was the way that he did it. More than just him doing it. It was the slick counters. The hitting openings where only his punch can land. The tightening up of his defensive ability. And genuinely, his innate instincts as a boxer, oh, there's something special. There is something there. There's something there. Right now, I still got Keyshawn Davis if they ever fought. But I'm telling you, Abdullah, brother, he is looking like one of the brightest stars in that division. He's going to be unavoidable. He's going to be a champion. He's going to be one of the brightest in that division. And potentially, if he keeps fighting like he does, and if he keeps on gaining weight, once he fully grows into his man body, once he fully matures as a person, not just mentally, but physically, oh, that brother can go to 140. He can go to 140. He can move up and be something serious. I'm excited for him. I'm incredibly excited. Absolutely, I'm excited for him. No question. Abdullah's next, no question about it. See, he's undeniable. He's undeniable. And again. Oh, also, Harold, what's good with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Also, I didn't even say hi to yo Trey. Wait a minute. We haven't even in the chat. Yo, Trey, what's good with you? How you doing? I forgot to say hi to you. I forgot to tell everybody who's coming through the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, please leave a like on the stream. No question about it. We appreciate you being here. Absolutely. Your presence is wanted. And we still got more topics to cover in the world of boxing and just beyond in the sports landscape. We're going to talk about Crawford absolutely coming up next. Actually, right now. But let me answer this last chat real quick. Before we see what's going on, who has Mason fought? Again, Mason hasn't fought any spectacular names. We get that, but he is still just like he's at the state where Floyd Schofield just got out of when it comes to building up before getting into the thick of the major fights. Mason is in that building range. We understand it. We fully accept it. Now he's getting close to, butting out. And now it's time to test yourself. No question about it. Absolutely. Against like more elite competition. But what we've seen in the buildup of his career is indeed undeniable for what he can be in this division. It is not a fluke that he is being talked about as one of the up next stars in the sport. It is not something that we're just trying to put on somebody just to push another great American boxer or just hype up somebody because we just want another big star. Nah. Mason, he's legitimately evolving into somebody that we all recognize as a legitimate talent that this division is going to be scary, or that this division is going to really be mindful of, because he's going to be a scary brother to face once he tips the scale and goes into the heat of the division. It's going to be exciting, and I can't wait for it. So now he's the truth. Again, the resume is not filled with big names because he hasn't fought many big names, because that's where he's at in his career. Understand it. But he's a rose getting ready to bud and bloom. And when that does happen, once he gets put up with everybody else, that's when the real test is going to come. Understandable. But it's undeniable what we're witnessing. And the growth of him as a fighter, he's going to be special. He looks like he's going to be really special. And I'm excited for it. I think Gamboa being undefeated but laid off 2 years and moving up in weight to fight Crawford is the same as Canelo fight right now, and potentially so. And that brings perfect topic into the segue. When we look at Crawford in his long layoff with Canelo, I'm bringing this up because, again, we're getting closer. We already got Canelo fighting William Scroll. Absolutely. That fight with Crawford potentially is happening late this year or next year, afterwards in May. Or after May, when Cinco de Mayo happens, of course, it's Canelo's month, gonna fight. We expect him to win the undisputed title again and take the belt from William Scroll and become a two-time undisputed champion, bringing that belt into the division or into that fight with Crawford for an undisputed versus undisputed type of scenario for the undisputed title. We're excited for it, no question, if everything goes to plan. But with Crawford, that's where the question lies. And we brought this up earlier on, but I think it's more pressing. We have to look and say, with Crawford waiting around, waiting around is the wrong word. When we look at Crawford in the gym, yes, but at the same time, not in activity with somebody else in the ring at some point in time between now and when their actual fight is, while Canelo's getting a fight in. We are more and more, I'm getting more concerned with Crawford's ability to fight and beat Canelo due to this lack of inactivity that he's had, which is going to be a mighty long time going up against the biggest threat in his career. I'm genuinely concerned. I am actually concerned. At first, I wasn't. At first, it was just, hey, potentially could be a problem. But now it can be like, let's look at this for real. If we want to compare it to Gamboa, we can go a step further and say that with Gamboa in that 2-year layoff, this may be worse because of the caliber of talent that he's facing off against in terms of Crawford and Canelo. Not saying that Crawford already wasn't a beast when he fought against Gamboa. He was. Absolutely. But the ramifications as well as the threat level that Crawford was at that point in time versus what he is now, versus what Crawford is now compared to what Canelo is now, which, again, they're both still some of the best in the world. Crawford's the best he's ever been. Canelo is on the decline somewhat, but it's still some of the best. He's still at the heights of his game. But I'm so concerned that don't see Crawford operating in his new body. Because he's gaining weight and because he's trying to, again, last time we talked about this, he was at 186. He's cutting down, again, smartly trying to cut down from 186 down to 168 to make weight comfortably. Great. I'm not saying his body can't take it, but like we talked about before, when you look at the standpoint of him physically, you still got to, when you get a new car or when you upgrade a new car, you got to understand how it handles in its new environment. You got to understand how it handles in its new regime, with this new tech, with its new suspension, new turbo, new engine, new transmission, all of it. You got to understand how it handles in this new state. Because now, while it may be bigger and more powerful, you being able to control it is a completely different beast on the road. Especially if you're a street racer or somebody like that, racing competitively or illegally, whatever the case may be. Got some people that they go to street races around the city. We had a couple big street races in the city. And so it's like when you upgrade and you prep the race, you got to be sure that you can handle what powers come out of this car. Because if not, you're going to crash and burn. Not because you ain't capable of winning, but because you don't know how to handle this newfound level of energy. The new get up, the new acceleration, the new ability to pinpoint turn, all this stuff is concerning because of who he's going against. I want to see Crawford fight against somebody, anybody, even in an exhibition, just somebody to show some level of real, I guess, results of what you've been training. Not because we don't trust what you've been doing, but because I want to see what Crawford looks like now. Not at 154. Not at 160. I want to see what he looks like now, because there is some level of concern that the brother may genuinely, physically be biting off more than he can chew. Because this is still an insane type of threshold that we're seeing Crawford go and fight at. This is a 20-plus pound, almost a 20-plus, if not more than just a 20-plus pound difference. 154, or just see, 147, coming up from 135, going all the way up to 168. Yes, he fought at 154, but even still, it's nearly a 10 to 15 pound weight jump that you're gonna have to fight at when you're fighting against Canelo. And so it's like, ooh, I'm a little bit concerned. For me, I'm concerned. You may not be, but I am. And I if he doesn't get in the ring with somebody, it's just, makes me really question. Though I know what his ability is, and I know what his stardom is, and I know how much talent he's got. How does the car handle? I need to see for myself how the car is able to drive with these new accessories added onto them. Because even if you got more power, if you can't use it properly, you can be in a very detrimental state. Especially when you need to react the same way that you could at lower weight classes. It's always a concern when somebody moves up to be something special. And if they don't, or they can't do it properly, and they look completely different. Timing's off, speed's off, footwork's off. The whole core of who they are as a fighter is in some way, shape, or form different in a worse way because you can't operate in the same way. Hence, more susceptible to a lot more damage, especially against a bigger threat. It can be a problem, and I just don't want that to happen. And so it's for me, it's just concerning. I would love to hear what you all have to say. Not that little guy Cromwell out of Floyd Kemp. Whoa, we talking about Cromwell Moulton? Wait a minute, hold on now. When did this conversation happen? Wait a second. Cromwell Moulton, now he's still got some growing pains, absolutely. He's still good, but we got to see more so defensively him get more responsible. Oh, you talking about the guy from Floyd Kemp. Okay, yeah, excuse me. My apologies. He can be good, but he still needs to grow a lot more. Defensively, he's got to get a whole lot better. Offensively, he's got the goods. He does. It's just a matter of he takes so much punishment when he does go in for the kill. When he does go into these fights, the brother, he'll land some great shots, but he'll eat shots too. And I'm like, my gosh, brother, you're still just getting in the ranks of the professional boxing world. You shouldn't be taking this much damage this early on. I mean, he's young. He can take it for sure now, but it can still, you never know when it'll catch up with you. Defensively, that brother's got to get better. to show me, okay, yeah, he's built for what's getting ready to come down the pipe when it comes to this elevated level of elite competition, which is what we expect him to be. I'm excited for it. He can be one of those ones, but he's got to get way better defense, because if he doesn't, it can be a bad night. It can be a very bad night. Did you watch Scroll last fight? I didn't get to see William Scroll's last fight, sadly. I'm definitely going to go look at it once I go and break down the fight as a whole. Once as it gets closer and closer between Canelo and William Scroll. And so, but let's see. You like Cormel, he's dominating. He is dominating, but the brother is just he's so offensively minded, but defensively lacking. It is a very bad combination. It's a very bad combination when you look to tank shots. Not because you're still getting the job done, but my gosh, man, some of the fights I'm seeing him in, I'm like, brother, you fighting a war when you should be able to, not just you should be able to beat this brother, but you shouldn't have to take this much punishment to get these highlight reel KOs and these dominating displays. You shouldn't have to at this age. It is a problem for me. And so, Cremona is good. I feel like Abdullah is further along than Cromel Mountain right now. Yep, I agree with that. Absolutely. For me, absolutely, I agree with that. Scroll last fight was against Bambi. Scroll last fight was on Bambi against at least 5 times. Rocked, and yet they routed the other guy and gave it to Scroll, who was hit clean for punches. I can't imagine him being hit by Canelo. Okay, see, I got to go back and watch the last fight. Now, again, I never thought highly of William Scroll when it comes to fighting against Canelo. We thought it was going to be a knockout, but this could be a quick and easy type of KO. If he got rocked like you say he's got rocked, I'm gonna go back and look at it. Don't get me wrong, no question. But I'll take your word for it for now, and it just furthers my belief in what this fight is going to be when it comes to the world of Canelo versus Scroll. And so the Scrolls are a race of see, y'all are crazy. See, y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. The Scrolls are a race of mutants. Excuse me. They're a race of aliens. Aliens. We gonna say it. We're gonna be technical. They're a race of aliens in the Marvel universe. Mutants are completely different things in the world of the Marvel landscape. Mutants are humans who have a specific gene that gives them some sort of powers. Skrulls are a race of people, a race of aliens in the Marvel universe who are indeed one of the bigger mega powers from the landscape of overall. You call them space invaders, you can call them whatever you want, regardless of which of the empires of that Marvel universe. They are one of the big ones. William Scroll is a Cuban boxer. Sorry, I just see you trying to be funny. You trying to be funny. I see what you're trying to do. Don't throw off this show with your puns and quips. We ain't having that. Oh my gosh. I can't. trying to be smart. Okay, I see what y'all trying to be. I've only seen a couple clips of William. I got to go back on YouTube, not on YouTube, but just on anything. I got to go back and watch his last couple fights. Hopefully it's on YouTube. He's got a couple that's on YouTube, no question about it. And so, but in all actuality, when it comes to this, it's on YouTube. Okay, you can watch it and you'll see everything. It's what William Scroll, let's call it like it is. William Scroll right now is just a means to get Canelo back to undisputed. Can he upset him? Sure. Everybody's got to punch his shins. But this is just a means to get the titles back on Canelo's waist so that he can go into the fight with undisputed on his resume. That's what this is all about. It's not really a situation where it's an actual competitive affair. But he's a mandatory. They want to get it. They want the titles to make this Crawford fight even bigger. So, game over. So that's why it's happening. Most likely we know the result, but it's almost done as a formality just to get the moniker of 2-time undisputed champion back on Canelo. Not saying William Scroll doesn't deserve it, because he does have the belt and call for the fight, make the fight happen. Okay, cool, fine, great. Okay, but regardless of which, we know what this is about. We know what this is for. We absolutely know what this is for. He gave you years of now. Who is this? Now who are you referring to for this comment? He gave you years of free fights. I don't know who you're referring to in this comment, but if you make it clear, hey, we can have a conversation, no question about it. But I'm not sure who you're talking about. Listen, Tio doesn't look good ever since he moved up. Now this is interesting. Let me touch back on this. Let me see. I'm gonna touch back on this. Let me go real quick. Go to the other thing. Camaro doesn't eat a lot. Does eat a lot of shots, but that's because he feels confident, like Bacoli, until it's timbered. Let's see. And he ain't nearly got the body to be able to be a shock absorber like with Bacoli or like a Tyson Fury. Nah, that brother, he gonna get caught. He's going to get caught. He is going to get caught and put down, and it's gonna be bad. And I don't want that to be the case. But it is it's more than a possibility. Once he gets up to the ranks that we want him to get up to, it's going to be inevitable that he's going to get caught and put down. Because he is so offensively minded, which again, I have no problem with. But he is so defensively irresponsible that he's got the same type of confidence that Jerron Boots has when it comes to walking people down. Both of them, they're showing that they got chins, but how long is that chin going to last when you go and fight people that can crack and they do catch you? Even with Boots in it, at least we have some level. He got the instincts to get out the way of shots. He has the know-how to be able to get defensively right and be defensively responsible. My issue is he doesn't want to, and he's choosing willingly not to, and actively putting himself in danger when we know he is better than that to put himself out of danger. We know he can do that, but he doesn't. Of his recent fights, Sugar John, Avanesian, Sugar John the first time, it's a problem. Cornell Moten, he doesn't have that ability defensively at this point in time. From when I watch him, it's more so he can't do anything else but be offensively sound. And defensively, he can hop back and use his athleticism and reaction time to get out the way when it's successful, excuse me. But when it's not, that brother will just eat shots to go and trade with you. And he doesn't have that ability, but he needs to get it. And get it quick just to be more defensively prepared. Because if he gets up to the ranks that we want him to get to, and he keeps on having these bad habits, that man's going to be, imagine him against Keyshawn Davis. Imagine him against Abdullah Mace. Imagine him against Tank. Right now. Imagine him if he ever fights against Shakur, to have to work his way on the inside. He's going to eat shots left, right, and center. And won't have the defensive ability to be smart. He'll go through. Yes, he won't. He'll think he can eat everything. Great if he fights against Shakur. Fine, you'll lose on points, and your face will get eventually bruised and swollen because of all the shots that you eat. He's got raw talent, but it's got to be cooked, because at this point in time, that raw talent, if we don't cook that bad stuff out of the normal operations that we see Moten do, that brother's gonna get put down. And it's gonna be bad. Now I don't want that to happen, but my gosh, it will. It will. And it will happen in a very bad way. Yeah, Camaro is a little rock'em sock'em. He is. And it's his style. And let's hope it changes once he moves up. Let's hope. My gosh, let's hope. He should be able to swim without getting away. With him being a short fighter, he's going to have to. He doesn't have the luxury of just being able to tank shots all the time. He's going to have to. Like, you got to be able to swim without. You got to be able to use the sweet science and use your explosiveness, head movement, and blocking to get on the inside. Feints, slipping. That's what you're going to need. Head feints, pressure to get your opponent on the back foot, and then to be able to successfully get on the inside without taking abundance of punishment. You're going to have to find a way to be able to use the sweet science to your advantage, because you still can. But my gosh, brother, you're going to take years off of your career before it's even started if you keep on fighting like this. That's not me trying to be mean. That's the truth of the matter. That cat is going to be he's going to be taking 5 years worth of punishment with only a 3-year career. That's not good. It's not good at all. And it's not good at all. If he keeps going, a budding career can be cut short incredibly quickly. So quick. My gosh, so quick. I'm telling you, it can be bad. Floyd, they're supposed to teach him that. They supposed to. I don't even know how much in the career of Carmel Moton is Floyd involved at this point in time. He's probably involved in a lot. I haven't been keeping up with it as much in terms of how Floyd operates. But regardless of which, Floyd, brother, you got to know that this can be bad. You got to. You and his coaches should know that this is a detrimental thing that can potentially build into a bigger problem. If you want to be in that elite tier of top tier talent as time goes on, it can be bad. I'm telling you, it can be bad. I think he's going to get bigger, more powerful through Carmel. Hold on. I think he's going to get bigger, more powerful through Carmel. Are you saying that Floyd is going to get bigger and more powerful in his reign and rule as a overarching conglomerate when taking people and putting them under his regime as a promoter / trainer? Or are you saying that Carmel himself is going to get bigger and more powerful as time goes on? If you could clarify for me real quick. But regardless of which, as much as I love Carmel. I want to see that brother succeed. He can be, and I think Showbiz said this on a good point. I saw on one of his shorts. And I believe other people have said this, or I don't think anybody else has said this, but it's a good point. Carmel's got that heart that he'll go and take on higher weight classes. He'll go and take on higher divisions. He'll go and push and do things that we thought the likes of Tank would do already. But they are a complete opposite of each other from the standpoint of Carmel may have that drive that we all wanted Davis to have, but he ain't got the ability to be able to withstand the test of what that drive takes. Tank got the ability to go and transcend or fight up in a higher weight class. At least that's what I and other people have been saying. But he doesn't want to, and he won't do it. Carmel, he'll gladly go and fight at higher weight class. Absolutely. He'll go and take on tests and challenges. He is hungry. But he ain't got the skills to survive. He definitely doesn't. Not just because he's young right now, but we're talking about later on down the line, if stuff doesn't get showed up and fixed in the light of Carmel, he won't be able to survive moving up in higher weight classes because he's going to be pressed and put in serious danger unless his chin is just Joe Joyce. And we all just, this brother is a Vinny Piazzi. What's his name? What was Vinny, was it Vinny, what was his name? Vinny something. Who fought against Roberto Duran, who fought against Roy Jones Jr. Is it Vinny Piazzi? Somebody. I think it was like an Italian-American brother from Brooklyn, from the Bronx, somewhere up in New York. Hard-hitting. Was incredibly bulky and strong, but a lot of times used his chin to be able to go and fight against people. Was much of a very dominating swarmer. Was his style? I can't remember his name. It was Vinny something way back in the day. He fought Roberto Duran. He fought, I believe, he fought Roy Jones Jr. And he fought a couple of other legends of that time in the 90s and 80s. I just can't think of them. But he's like that. He can be like that. But my gosh, unless he's got a chin like that, or got a chin like the likes of, again, a Joe Joyce now, a Gennady Golovkin. Like, my goodness, this can be bad. I don't want it to be bad, but it can be bad. That's what it was. Okay, Pat. Shoot, let me make sure I got that right. Shoot, hopefully I can pronounce it right. Pazienza. Excuse me. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. But Pazienza, yes, Vinny Pazienza. My apologies. I was blanking on what the name was. I'm glad. See, Rusty, I'm glad you're here. You help me. You help. you help. I know my history. I just don't know all the people. Excuse me. I know my history. I know the people. It just sometimes it just blows through. You help me stay in check to validate what I'm saying. Thank you so much. See, this is why we are a community. We help each other. We all help each other grow and be the best that we can be. Thank you so much. Absolutely. But again, Vinny Pazienza, unless you're like him or others who they're short, they are crude in their technical ability, but they are offensively minded and they are looking to take your head off. Unless you can have that same level of durability, Carmel Moten, as he moves up, even in the thresholds of elevating competition slightly, like you do when you're building up a career, like we're seeing him do right now, it still can be detrimental. I mean, you saw what happened with Abdullah Mason when that brother faced off against somebody who was indeed like not on his level, but still powerful. The brother with the pillow on the back of his head, I can't remember his name, but how they traded, they had 4 knockdowns in 2 rounds. Abdullah knocked him down, and he knocked him down with the hook. Then Abdullah knocked him down, then he got knocked down with the hook. Next round, knocked him down, and the same thing happened again, then ultimately knocked him out. But and Abdullah was doing the defensively responsible thing, and he still got caught and knocked down twice. Carmel Moten, if he goes down that same road, with not nearly as good of defensive ability, I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay, so see, one of your favorite older fighters. Okay, I'm in a story. I try to keep up with what goes on. This is why I try to be as reputable as possible. Cause we jogging everybody's memory at this point when it comes to the world of the histories of boxing. Carmel is young and growing, but Carmel will get more powerful. I truly believed it. Absolutely, I do. And I think as he gets bigger, his power is going to be even more detrimental. Because right now, he's landing flush on a lot of his opponents, but it's taking a lot of offensive work to get them out of there. It is. But as he grows, I think he's going to get even stronger. His punches are going to get even more substantial. And genuinely, his power is going to be even bigger than a threat than it already is right now, which I'm excited for. Well, all that means nothing if you can't take a shot either. And if you are either A, getting outboxed, or B, getting hit to kingdom come, and you don't have the fundamental ability to adapt as necessary because you don't have those same level of skills required to mitigate that level of major risk, especially against heavier punches on their end of the spectrum as well. And so it can be concerning. But going back to the world of hold on, wait a minute. T.O., where's T.O.? Shoot, what words T.O.? JBH, you brought this up. Talking about T.O. real quick. Duck on it. The chat's here. I gotta find it. Shoot, it's highlighted and everything. Hold on. Give me one. There we go. Yeah, T.O. doesn't look good ever since he moved up. Do you all agree with this or not? Do you think that T.O. doesn't look the same since he's moved up to the likes of 140? Or do you think that it is a situation where it was just a one-off stipulation, but he is still the T.O. of all? Because I think that T.O., while he's had a couple bad performances, understandable. We get it. We watched it. And let's see. I don't know. He looked impressive against Josh Kelly. And so now, let me make sure. Hold on. I'm sorry. Something's going on with the stream real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Trying to make sure everything all up to snuff. Trying to make sure we all good. Hold on. Brief technical difficulties. Hold on 1 second. Okay, excuse me. Okay, we back. Okay, we back. Okay, we good. So it's like he's had some bad performances. His best performance was when he beat Jack Catterall after the whole debacle that we've gone through with Kambosos and others and Sandor Martin. And since he went, then he fought, I believe, Steve Claggett, set the record for most punches, I think, in boxing for a fight at 140 in boxing history. I believe. I could be wrong. But I think this is going to be the most definitive gauge on where T.O. is in his career right now. I think so. Because he's had so many he's been so up and down over the past, 2 or 3 years. We have to say there is a level of unpredictability. We don't know for sure. As much as we're confident, we don't know for sure where his true standings are from the landscape of how his performance is going to be from a night-to-night basis. It could be incredibly good, and it could be incredibly bad. We assume that the pairing of Eddie Reynoso is going to be great, along with his father, who is still his right-hand guy in terms of growing up and training with him, Gordo Lopez and all that stuff. With all that being said, nothing is concrete. The only concrete thing with T.O. is that it can go at a moment's notice from looking like one of the best boxers on the planet to a shell of everything that we thought you were as a fighter. It can change that quickly. And so it's a legitimate concern. And I'm actively unsure of whether or not we're going to see T.O. as the best T.O. And I believe we're going to see the best T.O. I believe we're going to see the best T.O. we've ever seen. I believe. But even with that being the case, it is still such an unknown that every fight that he's had of the last 2 or 3 years sticks out inherently in all of our minds. Every performance isn't just the definitive, yes, this is Teofimo Lopez. He's had staple performances. But even then, you juxtapose it with what happened before that. And even after that, it's like, well, everything still isn't as set in stone for T.O. specifically. Coupled with the outside stuff that we've seen with T.O. happening, it's like everything is an incredibly volatile state for Teofimo Lopez right now, at least from my vantage point. And because of that, we are all looking and saying, everybody's got 50 different opinions on Teofimo Lopez because everybody views it in a different way. Because he's had so many different types of T.O.s. And none have really set in stone just yet. We know the ability. We know the skills, but the production, in some cases, matches it and blows it out the water. In others, falls flat on its face. And in and outside of the ring, and everything going on with him, with promoters and all that stuff, all that can build into what you are as a fighter, your motivation, your focus, and all that stuff. So we are sitting here literally on pins and needles saying what type of T.O., which T.O. is showing up tonight. That's what a lot of people are saying. That's what I'm thinking. As much faith as I may have in T.O.'s ability as a fighter, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what type of fighter we're going to get when T.O. comes to the ring against Barboza. I truly don't. And that it's a level of uncertainty due to what we have seen from the track record of T.O.'s career. We know what he can be at his best. But between his best and his worst, the gap and the potential has been shown to be such a drastic shift between the two best and worst of who you are. My gosh. It's unknown what you can get in that in between. And that's where the real fear for T.O. comes in. What is that in between? What's the baseline for T.O.? I don't really have a baseline for it. I just know what you are at your best and at your worst, but I've seen so many in-between types of performances ever since, again, the loss. I don't know what to expect. I genuinely don't know what to expect. You see, T.O. rather be lucky than skillful any day, and luck was there against Loma, no skill against Kambosos, and luck robbery against Sandor Martin. T.O. rather be lucky than skill. Okay. So he's saying he's experienced more luck than he has skill. He was robbed against Sandor Martin. Now, I thought he beat Kambosos due to skill. That was the best I've seen Teofimo Lopez. That and Jack Catterall. So those two are the best experience. But that was so far longer. And so, and against Loma, I can't say luck was there against Loma. I thought that skill, he beat Loma fair and square. I had no problem with that. I have no problem with that win. He did beat him. It was incredibly close. Absolutely. Loma was 1 round short of winning the fight outright if he had started his essentially evolving within the fight in round 5 instead of in round 6. And then T.O. won round 12. So I thought he won that fight outright. And I thought Skill won that one. But he was beaten by Kambosos, absolutely. Which robbed Sandor Martin of a win. And so this alone still speaks to the brothers had so much different connotations surrounding him and his career and his individual performances. We don't know what T.O. we're going to get, though we know what he can be. T.O.'s best was when he got dropped. No. T.O.'s best was when he fought against Loma. Loma and Catterall. Those were T.O.'s best. That was absolutely T.O.'s best. T.O.'s best was when he beat Loma, when Loma was seen as arguably the best boxer on the planet, pound for pound number 1. And then when he beat Catterall, definitively, when Catterall was in the pound for pound top 10 conversation. After we were all saying that Lopez potentially ain't got it no more. He was questioning himself. That was the fight. Those two fights are the best performances. Josh Taylor, excuse me, not Jack Catterall. I'm sorry. Not Catterall. I'm so sorry. Josh Taylor. I apologize. Josh Taylor. When Josh Taylor was pound for pound in the top 10 rankings. I'm so sorry. Not Jack Catterall. Got the names confused. My apologies. When Taylor was at that best and in those pound for pound conversations, and Loma, when he was definitively pound for pound, at least top 3, and in many people's eyes was the best. That's when he was at his best. Kambosos, if I said Kambosos, I apologize. That's not what I meant. Kambosos was at his lowest. Kambosos was at his worst. Now, Kambosos, he did have a situation with his lungs that he could have died inside the ring, legitimately. So, all credit, he was okay. Partially, that might have been the reason why I think that was the reason why he looked like he looked in that fight. But regardless of which, he lost that fight. And that fight and the Sandor Martin fight are the lowest of lows in his career for individual production. Absolutely. So Kambosos and Martin are the lows. Loma and Josh Taylor are the highs. Because they are so volatile and when they happened, we are saying we don't know what T.O. we're going to get from a night-to-night basis. And we need to see if the best T.O. or a version of T.O., a version of the best T.O. will come through in May in New York against Barboza. But it could very well be that the worst versions of T.O. can also show up and show out. And so because of that, we can't have full confidence that we would normally have in other fighters when saying, hey, T.O. can get him, T.O. can crack him, T.O. can beat him easy. We expect T.O. to be able to win. Barboza is no slouch. And because of the volatility of Teofimo Lopez, from the best of the best to the worst of the worst, within his own individual productions, as much as we may believe something can happen, or believe what we see from him, everything is still up in the air. And this fight is going to be probably the most concrete version of what T.O. is right now in the greater landscape of 140. And because of that, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But also very skeptical, understanding the wavelength of talent from T.O. specifically that we can see on the night of the fight. That's what I was trying to say about Teofimo Lopez. So yeah, now let's talk about Crawford being tough to drive himself to hospital with gunshot wound in the head. That's the dogging. Oh gosh. Oh, wait a minute. Oh shoot. My goodness. Y'all want to talk about that? Y'all want to talk about Crawford in his heart? Well, let's bring the banner back up and let's discuss it, shall we? Shoot. Might as well. Crawford as a dog. Do you think he's got more dog than Canelo? With not just his career, but also outside of life scenarios. Does Crawford have more dog in him than Canelo Alvarez? Genuine. Canelo could hit him so hard, remind him Canelo could hit him. Canelo could hit him so hard, might remind him of that injury. Oh gosh, it could. Very well maybe. But when it comes to the conversation of Canelo and Crawford, one of the biggest things that goes through with what makes this fight so intriguing, beyond just the talent that they both show and the resumes and the all-time greats that they both are, is essentially the argument of who's got more dog in him. Oh, Canelo ain't got more dog than Crawford. Crawford ain't got more dog than Canelo. One is going to be Crawford's that much of a dog that he can take this type of challenge and still walk with everything going all good for him because the brother's a menace. The brother's a menace, and then they get here we go again. They did give him a metal plate in his hand, like what Wilder said. Well, so does that? Well, now that brings a whole other question. So does that mean that he's going to be able to withstand anything that Canelo throws at him? Does that mean that he's going to be able to withstand the brother's sticking Kano? The brother's Kano from doggone Mortal Kombat. It's just the more you know what Now I want to go and see who else in the boxing world has some sort of metal inside of them. Because the more we go through talking about this, the more it constantly gets brought up that we got more and more people with enhancements inside them that are indeed just making everything make sense as to why they are as bad as they are when they get inside the ring from the standpoint of, oh, they're so dominant. It's like Wilder. At this point, it's like Wilder. At this point in time, shoot, who was it that was completely Rusty Cage? Was it you that hated the fact that Wilder got stuff in his hands? Well, shoot, we might have to hate on Canelo now, or excuse me, hate on Crawford now. I'm scared to look into the medical histories of anybody else in the world. I'm scared to look at anybody else in the world of boxing in their medical history, because for all we know, we may just see 10 people with different levels of metal or enhancements strategically placed at vital points in their body. Crawford may never. What is the plate? Did he get shot in the back of the head? Because if that's where the plate's at, in the back of his head, that buddy never has to worry about any behind the ear punch ever again, because he can just take it. Oh gosh, rabbit punches have no effect on the likes of Terrence Crawford, because that ability. If this man gets his back turned, hypothetically, if Canelo turns him around inside of a clinch and he whacks his head back on Canelo, that could give Canelo a concussion outright. And it could be like, oh, my bad, I'm so sorry. Next thing you know, boom, Canelo's knocked out. Oh, how can it be? What transpired? It can be all bad. Oh, shoot, it can be terrible. There's so much stuff going on. But when it comes, that's easy. Gotta have metal detector before stepping into the ring. Essentially, you got a whole setup, a whole gate before you even step in the ring. Whether you can get in it. Whether you can get in or not. Canelo going for a knockout to the body. It would be entirely, at this point in time, with what we know about Crawford now. Then again, this is news to me. I forgot, not even news. I forgot about the metal plate. And Crawford said he might have to just go downstairs to the body, for all we know. Because the head may just be ineffective. Maybe that's why he was able to eat that left hook from Errol Spence Jr. Because the brother genuinely had a metal plate and was just able to take it outright. Who knows what it is if we want to go down that road. But in all seriousness, in all seriousness, when we look at the landscape of it, see, just like I said, Errol Spence couldn't do anything with Bud. That boy got a steel plate in his head. That's why all his punches, they weren't doing nothing, potentially, hypothetically. But like, he came in like a wrecking ball. Essentially, that's what's going on. But when we look at the landscape of doggedness in the world of Canelo versus Crawford, do you think that Crawford got more dog in him than Canelo? Because me personally, I think that their dog matches each other. For me, I think their dog matches each other because both in and outside of the ring, life experiences have made them into something ridiculous. Canelo's upbringing, Canelo and his brother getting kidnapped before a major fight, all the stuff he had to go through in terms of with his family, with boxing being the only saving grace and everything. Crawford, again, getting shot in the back of the head. His mom making it so that he had to essentially fight in his front yard. And his mom would pay anybody to go and try to beat his son, genuinely. And what many people would call potentially borderline child abuse, molding Crawford into the killer that we see now. And so it's Canelo understanding what he's fighting for and who he's fighting for. A whole brand, not just for family, but for people behind him. Crawford fighting for his people, his city, his community. I think their dog matches each other. It shows up in different ways. Their life experiences are different, but they both have. Okay, I'm not trying to do a comparative drama, but it's yeah. You ain't know that. Yeah, his mom ain't evil, but his mom would go into his front yard and send and force Crawford to go out there and would pay all the kids around the neighborhood to come and try to beat and knock out her son. Genuine. And would do that over and over and over. Crawford said it himself. Crawford's even admitted, yo, my mom, the upbringing, it was tough. It was incredibly tough. Again, he still loves her. He isn't speaking ill of her. But he's like, nah, my mom put me through some things. My mom forced me to do some things. My mom molded me into who you see now by proxy of putting me in, willingly putting me in incredible dangerous situations that normally when you look at the landscape of parenting, most people would say you really shouldn't be doing it. And so it's like, it's a conversation. But I don't think we should do who's got more dog in each other because both of them have molded into monsters. And both of them have dog in them. Now, Canelo's dog may be questioned because he's not fighting Dave Benavidez. But on the whole, they are like, they didn't get to where they are or be who they are without having not just talent, but having that ability to out-dog you, outwork you. The drive from each of them is completely different. Not just from each other, but from everybody else in their own division and beyond in all the boxing. It's different. What motivates them is different. What their engine is completely different to everybody else in boxing, which is why this fight is so impactful. The fight is so incredible. And I for one, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to see it. Absolutely. But let's see what other people have to say in the comments down below. Let's see. Crawford might have strong legs in the business to hold himself. Crawford might have strong legs in business to hold himself up. He used to wrestle. Yeah, he did use to wrestle. He was deadlifting like 600 pounds. Like now. In fact, actually, I think it was like a year or two ago. He was deadlifting 600 with ease. With ease. That means he's a physical anomaly. But even more than a physical anomaly, the heart matches the physicality. The spirit in him matches the physicality. And that's what it's like. Ooh. It's incredible. And Canelo has the best chin in the business. Does he? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say right now, yeah. And that's the biggest thing. When the rubber meets the road, when Crawford's dog meets Canelo's dog, if Crawford can't hurt the likes of Canelo, and that's going to be the biggest thing. How does he operate afterwards? Because we saw him slowly break down and then eventually be able to hurt and rock the likes of Madrimov. But now against Canelo, if you can't get that same level of separation, both in boxing ability and in outright damage, by the time the rounds or by the time the end of the fight starts drawing near. So I'm interested to see if Crawford can't get Canelo's respect from his power. What is he going to be able to do? It's going to be very interesting. I can't wait to see what that's all about. Let's see. I didn't know. I don't know any metalhead wrestlers. I mean, see. Lex Luger was the only guy I could think of off the top. Lex Luger had, I think, an implant in his elbow or in his arm. That flying forearm of his was because it was so destructive because the brother had a metal plate inside the arm. Genuine. That was part of his whole gimmick. That was part of his literal finish. On top of the torture rack that used to always put on people. Which, again, I wish somebody would bring back as a submission move. Oh, that was incredible. That was ridiculous. Oh, that looked incredibly effective. Somebody needs to bring that back today. Hopefully. Also, Lex Luger's going in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him. Absolutely. Finally. Long time coming. No question about it. Should have been there a long time ago, but regardless of which. Because it was calm on camera when they kidnapped his brother before the fight. That is on another level, not to get out of character. To be able to face that level of legitimate trauma and then also not just handle it, but still perform inside of the ring when you don't know if you're going to have a family member by the time the fight's over. Like that's a different level of that's a different level of will. That's a different level of will. Outright. That's incredible. That's almost preposterous to think of. Because I can't imagine myself in that situation. Most people can never dream of somebody of being put in that situation. And to still not only go and operate, but to also still handle and save your family member. It's incredible. It is indeed incredible. It's incredible. Remember when Lex Luger tried to put Hugh Morris in torture rack and couldn't get him up? Yep, I remember that. I definitely remember that. I do remember that. That was it wasn't the brightest of moments, but still, the finisher as a whole as one of the most lethal, and somebody needs to bring it back. If they do, it would be so effective. It could be done in so many ways in this new generation of wrestling in the WWE and beyond. Whether it's with TNA, whether it's with the IPW, New Japan, somebody bring it back, please. It can be phenomenal. But I think we got one more topic before we get on here. I believe we do. Yep, we almost forgot. Keith Thurman and his return. I almost forgot we got to cover that. We do. And then we're going into the championship rounds. But we got to cover that. Keith Thurman and his return to boxing in a knockout win with the likes of Jarvis, knocking him out in the third round. And all of a sudden, Keith one time looks to be back, don't he? Hey, Keith one time looks to be back. But is he better than ever? Is he still the same one time that we knew? Lisping on. Or is there still some level of growth? Now, he's been out the game for over 1,000 days. Genuinely has been looking to. We thought some fights were going to come earlier on. Didn't happen. Now that they didn't happen. We had to say, Keith, at this point in time, this was a real, even though this was against Jarvis, who again, I respect him, but isn't really a high caliber fighter. Anybody that Keith Thurman returned to the ring with was going to be seen as a real litmus test for where he was in his career. And right now, Keith looked better than I expected. Which I'm happy for. He looked better than I expected. Thankfully, for being out the ring nearly over 3 years. The brother looked better than I ever expected. But let's see, I got to go. Y'all have a good weekend. See you on Tuesday. Thurman looked amazing. Hope to see more of him. His loss to Manny Pacquiao ain't a bad thing. It's not. Absolutely not. It's never a bad thing to lose the likes of Manny Pacquiao or any loss for that matter. However, even with this fight being, again, a good comeback fight, knocked him out in 3 rounds. He showed some real good assets to his game that he didn't lose. Still got that power. Still got that his ability to throw combinations. It's still there. The speed is still in his hands. It's still there. Slightly slower, but it's still there. The ability to, again, throw copious amounts of shots. His shot placement is good. All of that is great. And the ability to finish his opponents is incredible. To explode, and when he smells blood in the water, to get you out of there, All credit to him. Loved it. However, there is some bad. And the bad is, on the whole, he looks slow. His head movement ain't nowhere close to where it needs to be. Defensively, he still got some timing issues that need to get recouped for the ability to anticipate his opponent's offense, getting out the way, was using the lateral movement that we normally see him use at his best, but it wasn't nearly at the same get up, nor for the same length of time that we normally used to see him do for the whole of a fight. First round, Jarvis won the first round. Let's not get it twisted. And it's because he couldn't really get out the way like he wanted to. Took some time to get his legs back to what we used to see. He could explode in, but exploding side to side, changing direction, using the full of the ring with footwork and lateral movement, it wasn't the same. To be expected. The timing on his punches wasn't the same. To be expected. There's still some growth that needs to happen. If he's going to get back in the ring, the buddy needs to be active, and I mean active, to make it happen. I want to see him against at least 2 more fodder fights this year because he didn't take a whole bunch of damage. And if he wants to really get back into that title contending picture, not just against the likes of Tim Tszyu, who we talked to in the post-fight interview, but also beyond in the whole of 135, he's got to the work's got to start quick and in a hurry. And ultimately, some people say they want to see him face off against Errol Spence Jr. And shoot, right now, welcome back, Keith. Let's see Keith versus Charlo or Keith versus Errol Spence. I'd love to see that. Absolutely. Those would be great fights to have happen. Those would be phenomenal fights to have happen. No question about it. Those would be great fights to see transpire. However, even with that being the case, we can't say for certain that it would be, I don't want to say it wouldn't be competitive. It would be. But if we want to see the best version of him against those two, I need to see at least 2 more fodder fights, 2 more journeyman type fights, because he's got to get the rhythm back of what he is. He's got to, at this point, to be the best that he can be, especially at this advanced age. What is he? 30, 35. He's still in his physical prime, but he's still got to get, it's more than just ring rust now. It's repetition. Again, in the gym versus in the ring, everything is different. Everything is changed. Everything is shifted from the standpoint of the execution standpoint, or in the sense of execution, excuse me. Everything is different when you're in the live fire rather than when you're training for the fire. He still looked way better than I expected him to look for his first comeback fight, which I'm so happy for. And I would love to see him against Charlo and against Errol Spence. Shoot, against Tim Tszyu, if we saw that fight happen. I would love to see that. But as much as he looked great, I can't deny what problems were there. And I want to see him get in the ring more and get that ring rust off by activity rather than just in the gym training. And if that happens, hey, make for a great fight. Let's see. I like Keith versus Zimmer on Australia next. Good fight for both. It would be a great fight if that did happen. Again, he's still got to go through who's about it? Tim Tszyu's got another fight already lined up. The opponent, I can't exactly remember his name, but Tim Tszyu's got to get over his own mental blocks of having the ability, or lack thereof, to get over the cut over the top of the head. There's still that essentially trauma that we saw in his last fight against Murtaza, which is why he got, partially as to why he got KO'd in 3 rounds. Dominated it. And so if we want to see that back, not only do we need to see him produce against his next opponent, which again, I can't remember who exactly that is, but he's got to be able to get through that. Because Keith Thurman still, at this point in time, regardless of whether I want to see him fight more to get even where that ring was off, he's still a viable threat. He's still somebody who he can make life a nightmare for the likes of Tim Tszyu. And I would love to see them fight in their prime, both when they were undefeated and or directly after the Pacquiao loss. I would love to see that. But we are where we are. But that would be a good fight there. That would be a good comeback fight That would be a dangerous fight for Keith Thurman more than it would be for Tim Sue. But it would still be a fight that would draw the masses. That would sell out whatever stadium they want to have in Australia. That would make bank and would be a great fight outright. But Keith Thurman, even with this return, he's got to, for my money, I want to see him get a little more ring experience. Because if we see him have another long layoff before getting another fight, that's bad. It is bad from my vantage point. I don't want that. The best activity is, in fact, activity. If you want to shake off the ring rust, the best way to do it is to not just get in the gym, but put yourself in a live situation. Especially now with your advanced age in your career. You don't have time to waste. You don't have time to sit back and say, okay, I'll wait to get another fight or have these long layoffs anymore. You don't have time for that. If you want to make a staple name now and get in the midst of some of the biggest in the division right now, you need to go and get to moving. Get to step. I would love to see that. And if he does, great, phenomenal. But either way, congratulations for Keith coming back. Can't wait to see it. Happy to see you going through. And I'm happy to see what you do going forward from here. There's a lot of mega fights that you can make. Can't wait to see them all happen. Hopefully, sooner rather than later. No question about it. But now that we got that covered, we got to go through. I think it's time to go through the end of the show. It is now time for the championship rounds. That's right. Let's get it started. Make the show your own, comment whatever you want to discuss on the show. We got about 15 to 30 minutes. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter. Today, got some stuff I got to do beyond the realm of just this show. So we can't go too long, but regardless of which, we're still going to give you all the fervor and fire necessary. Talk about whatever you want to discuss in the landscape of not just boxing, but beyond, with the likes of the NBA, the NFL, wrestling, anime. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever you have as your interest, we can go through and discuss it outright. And I'm all for it. No question about it. I'm all for it. Shoot, while we're waiting and while you're getting your comments in, we can talk about something I've been wanting to talk about for a hot minute. Something that I've been had on my mind heavy when it comes to the landscape of boxing as a whole, which I think we touched on it earlier. But we didn't get to talk about it as a whole in the same vein that we wanted to earlier on in the show or early in past shows. But it was a situation where when we look at the landscape of top 10 pound for pound, they came out with a new list. And Devin Haney and Dave Benavidez are on there, taking the place of Tank. However, should Devin Haney be in your top 10? Be in top 10 pound for pound? In your opinion?
You've had your hands on me twice since my last fight.
In
When
your
pushed me, yeah, it doesn't matter. You put your hands on me. You put your hands on me.
Even with the resume that we've seen in the past, I'm on the fence. I genuinely am on the fence. I don't know how over the likes of not Teheshki. Not Tajiri. I forget his name. The name's eluding me. But there was a brother who I had on the top 10 pound before. And I'm thinking, we got people in the chat. Hold on, excuse me. Hold on. So you're saying no. Let's see. We got a lot of people coming. Okay, hold on. Excuse me. Wait, I ain't even looking at the chat. I'm so sorry. I was trying to fix something on my computer. So sorry. Junjo Nakatani. This is what I was thinking of. And he's already on the pound for pound. Taraji. That's what I was thinking of. Taraji. My bad. Thank you so much. Over Taraji. Do you think it should be there? We got some people saying no. We got some people saying yes. Who knows? Well, I would love to hear your thoughts. But so Rusty Cage says no. I don't think he should be there. And I'll get to why, but first let's go into the other comments so far. And I'll pull up the pound for pound list also. Prime Andre Ward versus Joe Calzaghe. Oh, that's a good fight. J.O. also, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show, no question about it. That's a good fight. I think, That's a good one. See. I'll say Ward, but that's about the slimmest of margins. It's incredibly slim. Because Joe Calzaghe at his prime, oh, that brother was great. That brother would give Andre Ward all he could handle. From a boxing and speed perspective, absolutely. Andre Ward would be, again, as a technical savant, would he be able to mitigate it? Absolutely. No question. But would he be able to mitigate it to a win? I don't know. I dare say that might be a draw. That might be a draw. That might be a draw. Genuinely. At least for the first fight. Second fight, I'd take Andre Ward. But at minimum, if they fought twice, first fight, I'd see it as a draw. Second fight, I'd take Andre Ward. If they fought against each other, that would be for my money. But that's a good fight. That's a good fight. Ward, let's see, Ward for sure. Good fight, but Ward by unanimous decision. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I'm thinking that it would be Ward by split decision. But if they fought against each other at their best, I think they would fight to a draw. Ward and Calzaghe, I value very similarly, at least in my estimation. So that's why I'm thinking it's incredibly close, understanding their styles and their ability. And so that's for me. But but real quick, let me pull up. I'm gonna get to your comments. Let me pull up the pound for pound list, like I said I was going to earlier, so we can have a greater landscape of what we're looking at, so you all can get a real picture. Ring Mag, top 10 P4. Here we go. Okay. There we go. So here, let me share this page with you all before we get into this conversation. Because this is indeed wrong. Not that. My gosh. Hold on. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 minute. Excuse me. That was almost incredibly. That was almost incredibly bad. Here we go. Okay. So now that we got this going. Here we go. Pound for pound top 10. For those of you who are tuning in and want to see exactly what we got going on. Oh, that didn't need it. That's the wrong page. Here we go. There we go. Pound for pound top 10 for those of you who want to see. You got. Let me shrink this down so you can get a full scope. There's a list of by Ring Magazine directly. You got the likes of Inoue. Oh, you got Usyk at 1, Inoue at 2, Terrence, Bivol, Better Be Up, Jesse Rodriguez, Alvarez, Junto Nakatani, Devin Haney, and then Dave Benavidez rounding out the top 10. Now, somebody put their list. Let's see. Was Inoue and Junto top 10 pound? Yes, they are. They've been there for I think for a good couple minutes. They've been in there for the top, deservedly so, pound top 10. And see, my top 10 is, and so that's the list currently right now. Do you agree or disagree? We'd love to hear your thoughts, but let's go back through the thing. My top 10, Usyk, Inoue, Bud, Bivol, Canelo, Bam, Better BF, Tio, Junto, and Shakur. Oh, now this is a good, interesting list. That's a very interesting. I respect the list, absolutely. But it's, ooh, boy. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's see. I put Collazo over Shakur. No Tank, huh? Yeah, well, shoot. Yeah, there's no Tank because he don't deserve to beat it. He definitely don't deserve to beat it. That's different for me. Tank does not deserve to beat it. And thankfully, he was on their pound for pound list up until like 2 weeks ago. Up until after the Lamont Roach fight. He was on the Ring Magazine's top 10 pound for pound list. And was on a lot of people's pound for pound list. Shoot, was on the, I think, Transatlantic Boxing Coalition. He might have been on their list too. But now after that fight, he got taken off. And deservedly so, because he did not do anything to deserve to be on there in the first place. And everybody else on that list has accomplished more than him, at minimum, to deserve to be there. Showing the pound for pound medal more so. Talent-wise, you can have an argument. He should be in that conversation. But from a production standpoint, that is still the second half of the equation. The biggest half of the equation. And he hasn't done that. At least not for me. At least not for me. And you would also put Cerudo above the likes of Shakur. Understandable. Again, we're having our talks. I'm trying to get what everybody says. Do you put heavyweights on the list? I do, if they deserve to be there. Now, Usyk's the only buddy that deserves to be in the pound-for-pound top 10 for me right now. Absolutely. He's the pound-for-pound number 1. If he was down the list, he would still be in the pound-for-pound conversation. He deservedly shouldn't be there. Again, for me, weight classes don't matter to me. It's about your individual production as a fighter within your division or beyond, if you can go beyond. And so I don't exclude heavyweights. I don't. Because it doesn't make sense to me that just because you're the biggest of the big, you still can't be pound for pound the best of everybody else. And so Usyk definitely deserves to be there. He's the only one that deserves to be there. But he deserves to be there. And if he got bumped down, he would still deserve to be there for me. But yeah, if you deserve to be there, regardless of weight class, I put you in pound for pound. No question about it. Yo, Justin Kemp, how you doing? Glad to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Absolutely glad you joined in for us right here on the show. West Side, indeed, and we see you right here over on the East Coast, having our fun and having our time. We appreciate you taking time out to join our show. Tank is pound for pound. Tank is pound for pound, one biggest underachiever. That's what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are starting to have that same sentiment. See, it's not just me that is going through and saying all this stuff about Tank. There is a real consensus that people are changing their tune when it comes to Tank Davis in his production and legitimate standings in the whole of the pound-for-pound conversation. Many people had him because he was just knocking everybody out. His talent was indeed justifiable. But now, after this fight with Roach, a lot of people are having a new perspective on what Tank's resume really is. And now they're starting to cross over and say, wait a minute, maybe we jumped the gun on what this brother should be as a top 10 contender. Maybe we shouldn't have been demeaning Devin Haney being on the list higher than Tank all those, months or like a year ago, because of the opposition that he was facing and the accolades that he had achieved is in actuality better than what Tank has done. And it's not because I'm hating on Tank. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have a problem with. Tank, a lot of people that like Tank or only know Tank, if you talk against Tank, they deem it as you don't know anything about boxing. But if you know something about boxing, you would be saying the same thing that many people say and myself say about Tank Davis. It's almost a flipped script that your knowledge of the game is questioned if you say something bad about Tank. When in actuality, if you are knowledgeable about the sport, something bad would be said about Tank Davis, even more fervently than is being talked about right now, because of his lack of production at the stage of what he should be doing at this point in his career. And so does Jenny belong on the list? No, he doesn't belong on the list right now. No, he is still a force at middleweight. Absolutely. Still got some work to do in that division. But if he keeps on climbing and if he keeps on genuinely, again, cleaning house and does it at a little bit more rapid pace, I think he's got a fight coming up, I believe. But if he keeps on dominating at a more rapid pace, like he's doing right now, he'll beat it. He'll absolutely beat it. He's not there yet, but he is eking up that conversation to beat it very quickly. He is a very, very dangerous man. Oh, he's a very dangerous man at middleweight. He's incredibly dangerous. One of my favorite fighters to watch. To watch fight and to watch box. And his talent is deserving of the acclaim and of the threat level that he is in the entirety of the division. This man, if he keeps moving like this, can get to pound for pound. Pound for pound is still a lofty goal to get for anybody, because you got to reach a certain threshold of greatness beyond just your individual talent. You got to get names. You got to get accolades. You got to have activity. You got to have consistency. And you got to dominate on a scale that is far and away better than anybody else in your division on average. And the gap has to be clearly shown on average. And so at least that's my criteria for how I gauge pound for pound. And so he's getting there. But for me, he isn't there yet. And I believe on the actual list, which if I pull it up again, he is, on the actual list, he's not there at this point in time. And so, but let's see, hold on. We still got more people coming. I don't see pound for pound for Ali Muhammad, but I've seen him on some people's list. And again, the moves that he's been making, he has earned the right to be in that conversation. Some people value him as should be there. I don't. For me, I don't. And so, I'm not saying he can't get there. I just don't think he's there right now. But again, the brother's a bad brother. People wouldn't be putting him on the list if he wasn't deserving of being there. Now, this Dr. Wong, I do also almost forgot. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Appreciate you coming in on the Welch Report with us at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Getting ready to wrap up the show. We're glad that you're here. Hopefully you stayed for the longest time. If you haven't already, leave a like on the stream. Go ahead. Comment your thoughts and opinions like you are right now. And share the show. And subscribe if you haven't already, because we got more like this to cover all throughout the weeks, months, and all year long right here on the Welch Report. So thank you so much. It does my heart good that you're here. But when it comes to your pound for pound list, now this is very interesting. It's very interesting indeed. I don't think Shakur should be there. And I don't think T.O. should be there. For me. And it's because of this next run that T.O. can be on can validate whether or not him being pound for pound should be valid or not. Because he's got in front of him Barboza, then at the same time, Haney, Garcia, all within the same vein. And he is currently still linear champion. If he goes on the run that I think he may go on, of going through and beating and facing off against not just beating Barboza, but also going and beating or fighting the loser or winner, any of the two, between Haney and Garcia. Now we got ourselves a conversation, especially if he picks up another belt in the division at 140. He's on the trajectory. And we know his talent can be there, but he's got to produce to get there in recent times. Because he hasn't in recent times. Again, the volatility, the up and down nature of T.O.'s career. I can't put him in my pound for pound. Though he's got the ability to be there. Shakur, I sure enough don't think he's done enough to get there. I don't. His boxing ability is some of the best in the world. As a boxing technician, he's one of the top talents that this whole boxing regime has to offer. But from a resume standpoint, he's a multi-time champion, absolutely. Multi-division champion, absolutely. Love it. But when it comes to, again, bodies on the resume also, he hasn't gotten to that threshold yet. Now, he's right there. He's in the midst of it now. It starts with Schofield, and then it goes and balloons into everybody else at 135. Now we got ourselves a conversation, but at this point in time, I can't put him there because the accolades are great, but they don't match up to the others and what they have done, as well as the names right now aren't where they need to be from the standpoint of consistent high-level opposition of recent times, not just of the past. That's where we had to say. And because of that, this is where Shakur, he's right there. And he can get there at a moment's notice. Once he fights the likes of beyond just Schofield, which I have no doubt that fight will happen. But then with Tank, Loma, Abdullah, and the others at 135, or if he opts to move up to 140. Now he goes and achieves that, or starts that journey at minimum. Now we got a better conversation, at least from my personal vantage point. But again, I respect the list, no question about it. Absolutely. And so, but let's see. A winner of Apataya Zerudo at cruiserweight could get in on pound for pound. I think now that, you know what? That actually ain't bad. I hadn't even thought of it. I had not even thought of it. That could actually be a possibility. If either Zerudo or Apataya win, more likely if Apataya wins more than Ceruto. We could see Apataya get on the pound for pound list. But Ceruto been a menace. Shoot, I take that back. I take it back. Okay, excuse me, I'm wrong. Either Dr. Wong, you're right. Either of them who win have a mega argument for getting into that top 10 pound per pound. Mega argument. Because Apatai's already looking like one of the biggest menaces in all of cruiserweight, separating himself clearly. The only person that he hasn't really fully separated himself from was indeed Ceruto. He beats Ceruto. My gosh, incredible. If Ceruto beats him and stops the train that is Jai Apatai with his already robust resume at cruiserweight, yeah, he gets. So no, I agree. I agree with this. Whoever wins cruiserweight, Ceruto versus Apatai, whoever wins that fight, when they do fight, because they will fight, that can be a legitimate pound for pound initiator for either. And so no, I'm excited for that. Am I the only one who prefers the Nitro era over the Attitude era? Okay. This was the conversation like in the past. I remember you brought this up. I remember you brought this up. I'm going to answer this. Because you brought this up last show. I'm going to answer this. Let me get to Al Booger real quick. And then I'm going to answer this very statement. Because I got to think about this. And we need to talk about it. Absolutely. Really? Shakur is a 3-division champion, unified 1 division. Still undefeated and just stopped the top 10 ranked fighter who was ranked higher than Kid Austin. Shakur is more accomplished than most current boxers when you think about it. That's true. I'm not going to deny that's true. That's absolutely true. No question about it. It's the fact that when we look at Shakur's career, he beat Jamal Herring, absolutely. Beat Oscar Valdez, absolutely. Again, 3-division undisputed champion. And, well, actually, hold on. Maybe I'm not doing him a disservice. Maybe I am doing him a disservice. Let me think. 3-division champion. Beat Jamal Herring at his prime. Beat Valdez at his prime. Knocked out the up-and-coming Yoshino. Beat Josh Bradley, who was ranked higher than him, but really wasn't all that great of a fighter. And okay, so here we go. So here, the reason why I can't put him there yet is because it's not just because of the past accomplishments, which are indeed worthy. Again, he's more deserving than Tank to be on the pound for pound list. Absolutely. And he has an argument that he should be on the pound for pound list right now. No question. Now, for me, personally, because of the surprise of ranking Padley higher than Schofield, I did not expect, nor did I know, up until you all informed me. Which, great, phenomenal. We found out something new. The performance that Padley put on, however, was not something individually, beyond just what Shakur being Shakur. But Padley, strictly being Padley, did not put on a performance that showed me that, yeah, he had the skills of somebody like a Schofield. So I don't hold that level or that fight at the same high esteem. I still hold it highly. Knocked him out, got the job done, did what he was supposed to do. But that very phrase, did what you're supposed to do, against a fighter that you are indeed supposed to be better than, drastically better than in a lot of people's eyes, in the form of Josh Padley. Understanding that, I'm not pushing that down to hold him back. But what I am saying is, Schofield for me, again, because pound for pound list is indeed subjective, and everybody can have their own list. My criteria for Shakur right now was, once you beat Schofield and get in the ring with the others at 135, now pound for pound, I can really look at it and say, yeah, you're there. You are always on the bubble. But for me, I think he's right there. But I needed Schofield. Schofield for me was that guy that would have either put him over or would have had him tied with somebody else on that list. Because now, both of y'all, relatively the same age, you should be fighting each other. A competitive fight between a powerhouse and a technician. Two people that are in the best of the division as a whole. Now you do this. You have successfully, beyond just what we see from the eyes perspective, but you have gotten a body on your resume that has successfully separated you from a portion of the division with substance as an active win. That would have been what put him over the top for me. Padley, as much as I respect him, I don't see that win as the same pushing over the top, because who he was as a fighter, especially on that night of the fight, he didn't just get dominated just because Shakur is Shakur, but because him as a fighter himself wasn't able to put on a better type of fight. His ranking to a degree wasn't indicative of what his actual talent was. From when I watched that fight. That's why. Again, from my perspective. But again, if you have him there, no question. For me, he's on the bubble. He just isn't there. Once he faces off against one of the big six in that division, I'll put him there, no problem. Cool. Absolutely. But for me right now, he's just on the bubble. Just not there at this point. Not yet. From my standpoint. But if he's there for you, I have no problem with that at all. And so he low-key ended the careers of both Yoshino and Herring. Herring, I think he retired after that fight. I think he retired either after that fight or fight afterwards. And then Yoshino, he's still boxing. He is. It's just been a minute. It's just been a minute. I love Judo Nakatani, 3-time division champion and stopping people, but a lot of his competition isn't going to jump at you. And I think that's more so because people don't know the bantamweight division. A lot of people don't know the bantamweight division. On the whole of the bantamweight division, most of those people, even if they are unknown, the reputation of the division as a whole is you got killers everywhere. Again, the smaller weight classes, what they lack in power, they have in everything else. From technical ability to talent to speed and all that stuff. They have that because they don't have a whole lot of power. Junto having power in all of that. It's a big separating point for what makes him so great. Absolutely. Skills are undeniable, and he's got the pop to go with anybody. And he is so lofty. He is so dominating. He is getting people out. His last couple fights, he's gotten people out in less than 4 rounds. And they ain't been slouches who he's been fighting. So the wider boxing public, they don't know them specifically because they don't follow the smaller divisions. Understand it. But if you watch the divisions, the resumes of the people that he's fighting, they're good. And they deserve to be in the ring with him. But brother, he is just so dominating above everybody else. It's like he makes them seem obsolete. But they ain't obsolete. That's what makes this run by Junto so special. That's why we want to see him fight against Inoue in the very near future. In roughly a fight or two. Because of how much he is dominating everybody at bantamweight right now. It is incredible. It is phenomenal. It's utter domination and devastation. He's a wonderful fighter. Wonderful fighter, absolutely. With all due respect to Kid Austin, who is with all due respect, who is Floyd Schofield? I thought that those two were two different people initially before I found out that was his nickname. But not, he ain't done nothing great in the division, absolutely. But just like with Abdullah Mason and just like with the other prospects at 135, he is reaching the heights of he's going to be a problem in the division. He's growing, and he is somebody who is turning into an unavoidable threat more and more and more as his career goes through. The fight with Shakur was supposed to be, okay, it's time for you to get in the ring with somebody that is a legitimate, top-tier talent. And because it's time to get there, if you can get Shakur, get Shakur. But you got to be tested. You got 22 fights in your career, 18 KOs. It's time to do something. It's time to work. It's time to go. And so it was appropriate that we saw Shakur face off against Floyd. It was. From my vantage point, it was. Because it was, okay, it's time. Shakur, I want to see Shakur fight some of the best. Schofield, you are one of the best rising stars. And you are out of the honeymoon period of building up who you are as a talent. Now it's time to show us what you are against some of the best now. We can't say you can't say who are you as a fighter. And then when they go and fight somebody that is who they're supposed to fight, you then say, well, why are you fighting? What have you done to fight? Like it was supposed to be at this point in time, fighting Shakur made sense. Yes, make that fight happen. It's time for that fight to happen. And so that's why I'm saying Shakur earned that shot to get there. Because it made sense in all things to make that fight happen. Two hotly touted. One multi-division champion. Another one top prospect in the division. Seen as one of the biggest threats to the likes of Shakur. Let's get it in the ring. Let's see what you can do. Let's make it happen. It's time to step up to get to the elite, because we now see you as an elite level competitor in some way, shape, or form. Show us against some of the best, and let's see what happens. And so it was an appropriate time. So that's why I'm thinking, that fight does make sense then, and still makes sense now to be made. Absolutely. He ain't no type of measuring stick. In all honesty, it's again, we can think Shakur is better than Schofield. Absolutely, I ain't got no problem with that. But he's still got to fight him. Even if you are better than somebody who is also a high caliber talent in the realm of the division, you got to get in the ring with him. You still got to fight him regardless of which. And so we were all saying, yes, make this fight happen. Shakur's at the top of his game. Schofield wants the biggest challenges apparently. And we've seen, okay, it's time for him to step it up. Let's see what happens. And so I had no problem with that fight, in my opinion. I had no problem with that fight. Since Canelo lost to Bivol in 2021, do you think his opponents have been of pound for pound quality? Absolutely not. Yeah, no, in no way, shape, or form. Again, the fight was supposed to be Dave Benavidez that he was fighting. And then he didn't do it. Now, we respect what happened. John Ryder, Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia I held higher than John Ryder because of what Munguia had done previously. And then knocking out John Ryder, okay, yeah, you deserve to get a shot at Canelo. Great. But John Ryder wasn't all that. Munguia, I respect, but the talent was clearly leagues above. Berlanga, at the time that fight was made, was horrible, was terrible, was absolutely despicable. That fight had no business being made in the slightest. Yet that fight was made. Berlanga showed a great performance and made us all respect him. But I had talked about Berlanga previously before that fight, well before this fight was even in the cards of taking place. And I was saying that Berlanga is nothing but a hype job because he hadn't gotten a knockout in 5 fights. It had a bunch of close fights with fighters that he shouldn't have been having close fights with. His wins weren't even good wins when you watched them in totality. It was bad performances outright once he stepped up his competition by a modicum of levels. He did not deserve to get in the ring with Canelo at all. At all. He was less deserving than Floyd Schofield was of getting in the ring with the likes of Shakur Stevenson. He was less deserving than anything. But he still got the fight. And we were all saying that Berlanga had no business being in the ring with Canelo. This is a terrible fight to make. It's a horrible situation, just like with Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. Both of them, Tank and Berlanga, put on great displays that made us have to respect them. But even worse than the likes of Lamont Roach, who at least we did respect and who was a champion, who had that backing about him, Berlanga, who I had been following, had shown nothing of any ability. He outplayed what his ability normally is, which I'm happy for. But on the side of Canelo, there was no reason that fight should have been made in any way, shape, or form. Because you had other legitimate talents. You had Christian and Billy. You had Benavidez that was still wanting to be made. Shoot, if you wanted to really make an effort, like you kept on saying, you could have been calling out better BF if you still wanted to keep on that campaign of 175. But you didn't. You could have fought Benavidez, but you didn't. All this stuff you could have been doing, you didn't do. You took what was widely considered and still is accepted as one of the worst fights in your career from a matchup standpoint. And you willingly did that. It's horrible. It's terrible that happened. But that's what happened. Berlanga showed heart, showed better than we all give him credit for, but still, it was bad. All of his litany of opponents over the last couple years have been bad. They have been horrible. They have not been worth our time. They have not been worth our effort, our energy, our substance as fans of this sport. And Canelo knows it. Williams Scroll is happening as a formality so we can get undisputed with Terrence Crawford. That's it. But beyond Terrence Crawford in this fight, there was no other fight that we wanted to see made outside of David Benavidez. So yeah, after 2021, we have been lamenting Canelo taking the easy routes in his career. And we all only want to see one fight. That's it. After that, okay, sure. Now you can go about doing some of the stuff that you're doing, taking some level of break. We still want you to fight the best, but at least we can say you fought the biggest op that we've been waiting you to fight instead of waiting them out for who knows how long. At least we can say that. But of recent, it's been horrible. His picking of opponents has not been up to standard. So you are absolutely right on it. Dr. Wong, when's my opponent? When is my appointment scheduled? My skin's feeling actual butter. You just need some lotion. You just need to take a bath, get hydrated, and get some lotion on you. That'll fix that up real quick. You don't need a doctor for that, brother. You need some self-care. That's what you need. Again, I'm kidding. I'm just playing. Also, what's good, brother? What's good, Lord Freezer? How you doing? Back from the depths of space to keep on coming and see what we got going on. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, your maniacal presence, your empiric levels of just total global and universal domination. Thank you for taking your time out to see about little old us. Please don't destroy our planet, because if you do, we ain't gonna have this show. So please, but listen, Canelo got to be on the bubble of top 10 at this point. He is. Again, I'll pull up the list right now. The brother's already at this point in time. Still, no, wrong one. No, wrong one still. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold up. There we go. The brother's still, he's at 7th. Juto, with how he's been moving. Don't let him fight anyway and move up. Shoot. Now he's getting bumped down to probably 9th. Or Benavidez probably gets bumped out. Not Benavidez. Haney probably gets bumped out if Canelo moves down. We can't move Juto down. Everybody else at the top should stay at the top. So Devin probably gets bumped out for somebody else. Benavidez probably gets moved up. And then Tajiri gets put back at 10 for the Ring Magazine. And for the whole, yeah. He's on the cusp. Don't let this fool you. He is on the cusp of genuinely getting put back out of the pound for pound with how he's been moving. He's been moved down all these years because of his willingness to not fight people. If anything, his resume of the past is the only thing that's holding his current position, because his recent performances and the fighters that he's been fighting against have not been at the par. They haven't. They're not pound for pound worthy. They are not. And so let's see. Nanjan, look it up. Neither Harry nor Yoshino have fought since they got washed up by Shakur. Oh, I didn't know that. So shoot, this brother's ending careers. You're right. My apologies. Excuse me on that. But okay, so here's the truth. Further pushing the point of it, that man is indeed a pound for pound level talent. No question about it. Is he on my list right now? No, he is right there. He's just not on mine. Up until he fights some of the some of the elites at 135, which he should do next fight. And I'll put him there, no problem. Absolutely. But again, it's just my personal list. If you have him there, I completely understand. Lord Freezer, my advice, stop messing around with those ladies at night. Shoot, hold on. That's actually a good question. essentially, but keep it in your pants. But you need to slow it down there. That's what you need to do. Also, do you even like that? Well, actually, hold on. I never thought of that. But how do you make more of you? Do you lay eggs like the Mexicans? How do you go? Like, do you date people? Does the freezer race? Are they all just men like in the Mexicans and y'all just lay eggs or just essentially just make another you outright? It's so interesting. Freezer, please give us some insight. How exactly do you go about, how do you go about staying alive or keeping your population up? What's your type? Do you have a type? Do you not care? Are you like, or are you like doggone, what's his name? What's that? What's the show? What's the show? Usual Harmon. We're just like, yo, if it moves, hey, you listen to me. So shoot, I'll do whatever I want. Are you like that? Do you court people? Or do you just say you're mine? And then that's it. It's so many questions. I would love to hear about your how you go through. Do you have game at all? Or do you just flex your conquers? Or you just flex your ability to conquer people? And then be like, hey, this can be you. Or this is going to be you. You just threaten people. There's so many questions. I'm so intrigued. That join me and we can conquer the whole universe. What? You know what? Dr. Wong, hopefully you don't do that because I can't afford to have a good doctor taken away by this scoundrel of a tyrant. My goodness. It'll be horrible. Al Booker, everybody criteria is different with pound for pound. Absolutely. I don't really like to argue pound for pound much. Just fun banter. And again, we're just having fun. Pound for pound, and I think Dr. Wong, we talked about this before. Pound for pound is, or at least how we talk about it. Pound for pound is subjective to everybody. We don't hate anybody's list. We may disagree. We don't hate. Make whatever list you feel. Have your own criteria. But pound for pound is necessary because it helps set a standard for what greatness is supposed to be for the current era of boxing. If you want to get on this list, you got to be above XYZ. And their accomplishments, talent, consistency, and legitimate all-around encompassing boxing ability. You do that, okay, you deserve to be of the best in the world. If not, you're still a great fighter. You're just not there yet. It breeds a level of separation that is necessary to gauge greatness properly. We're not using this to demean or push people away, but we use this to set a tone for when somebody does come along and turn out to be something great. Okay, have they reached this level of greatness? And then once they reach that threshold, okay, now are they in pound for pound talks because of what they've done? And if they are, now we use pound for pound rankings to compare whether or not they have overshadowed somebody else who was there with their current ability and production to make themselves solidified as, yes, you are one of the 10 best people that this sport has to offer in the whole of the boxing regime. And if you do that, great. If not, you're still great. You're just not there yet. But it's all done to help edify the sport as a whole. At least that's what it should be done as. And so make your list, absolutely. I have no problems with it. And shoot, I think that's about everything we need to do. So we're about to get out of here. We got to go. I got stuff to do. And I also am hungry, so I'm going to get some food. So with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Absolutely. Again, Lord Freezer, I'm scared to see what your women of the night are indeed about. So you better, hey, we're going to have this as a story time later on in the later weeks. But all I got to say is we got more to cover. We got topics I didn't even get to discuss that we going to discuss. Good gosh, I got something in my eye. But with all that being said, we will still be back here next week talking about the greater landscape of the sports world and boxing as a whole. Don't forget to leave a like before you leave. Listen to us on our podcast, The Same Welch Report, every single week on every podcasting platform. We will be back here on Tuesday. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Something's in my eye. I'm so sorry. But we're going to get out of here. I'm going to get this out of my eye, and we're going to see what time has to offer. We'll see y'all next week. Peace and love. See y'all later.